There are a lot of other topics I'd rather cover other than exposing these liars that are in power and that have a monopoly on how we see reality, which then in turns give them a monopoly on how we see ourselves and etc. We'll talk briefly about that. We have to put our foot on their necks at times like this, which is of great deception. Us people with our third eye open and with the knowledge to know better, we can't simply ignore this. It is the universe calling us forth now to give the things that we've gathered to share with the world. What's your purpose of having all this knowledge if when it's time to fight against deception, you go in the corner and meditate? See, me personally, I think people like that aren't fit to call themselves a warrior in the battle against good and evil. What are we going over? Why are we here today? We're here today because there's a great deception going on, and I want to attack that deception. Let me put the thumbnail up just for a second while I give you my layout. There's a lot of Artemis updates I want to go over today. People in the community I want to shed light on. And as always, we're going to be reviewing to a couple of powerful videos that's going to shed light on this Artemis thing. And I'll be giving you my breakdown, but I want to just give a mashup of the recent updates concerning Artemis, make a couple of new arguments, and also today I wanted to kind of go over a little bit of the reasons why, because a lot of people love to ask the question, why would they do it anyway? Like, what's the point of them faking it all? That's a very common and popular question, and a very interesting question. It stops people's search for the truth. It makes us look like we're tripping, like when you have the mentality of why would they lie. So we're going to address that mentality. We're going to answer that question, why would they lie? Hopefully we have time today, because there's a lot of things I want to review and do my video reactions to. But yeah, we'll go ahead and hop right into this, and we'll go into my introduction. And this introduction will answer a lot of your why would they lie. So really what we need to know is that the space program officially started in the mid-50s. And around this time, no one had a concept of space as we know it today. It wasn't as popular. The whole idea of space is only 50 to 100 years old. It's a baby idea. It's important to know that during this time in the 50s, there were many scientists whose idea of space wasn't the way we see most of the scientists today. So there's a monopoly on how we see the upper realms, and this monopoly lies in the concept of space from the fact that all of the scientists have a foundation of space, which is a very new foundation of how we look at the heavens that we got to keep in mind. And that prior to the 50s, you had scientists that it wasn't so common to walk up to a scientist and they're gonna tell you something about space. Prior to the 50s and going back further, the concept of space as we know it today get less and less popular. And you have this concept of the ethereal realms, which is very ancient. It ain't new. In fact, the concept of space is new, which is what I want to really share with you guys today. We can go on a little history of that. We can go in a little history of that. So give me 1 second, if you will. 1 second. So one thing I want to point out, guys, is that there was no space program prior to the mid-50s, which means there was no budget, no planetary defense, no multi-trillion-dollar cash cow to siphon money out of the people. Now, a person may ask, How did we ever opt into a space program? Well, that's what I want to share. I want to take my time and lay that foundation, giving you that introduction with this introduction today. And I'm going to take my time doing it because I want to be thorough. So, and like I say, in the mid-50s, right, you did not have a space program. I think what'll be appropriate here is I'm going to talk to you about this, just to put up a couple of little images like this right here, just to talk to y'all with. So there wasn't a space program. And what happened was a fear had to be created. So the space program is something that, in my opinion, was crafted. It wasn't nothing that randomly happened. It was crafted. It was planned. It was a budget that someone said, hey, man, this is an easy way to siphon money out to people. But not only that, to hide what they had found out in the 50s. See, if you understand that the program is set up in the 50s, right? And then you ask yourself, when was Operation Fishbowl? Now, I want everyone to research Operation Fishbowl, because Operation Fishbowl was in 62. The space program started in the 50s. You see how all of this is around the same time? You see, because when they was launching stuff up into the sky, this evolved into what we call the space program. In other words, when you see them launching rockets up in the sky today, saying we're trying to explore the nature of the heavens, that is a program that evolved from Operation Fishbowl, because they wasn't launching people up there first, they were launching bombs up there. And this evolved to some man saying, hey, if we're gonna explore more, we need to start sending people, right? So we're gonna be very accurate. I'm gonna say first humans sent to space. So we'll have an accurate timeline here. You will see, right, that I know what I'm talking about. The first human space flight was in 1961. And it was Neil Armstrong in 69. So we're talking the 60s, right after Fishbowl. Just listen to what I'm going to give you, some rich history that's going to make a lot of stuff click for you in this introduction here. So Yuri Gagarin, this gentleman here, and I'll give you a picture of him. He was actually one of the first ones in space. I got a fly in here flying around and it's getting on my nerve. If you can relate to that, drop a 1 in the chat room. But this guy here, Yuri Gagarin, he was one of the first before Neil and them. And this is important. I'm going to flip back to him in a second, right? So Yuri here went in 61, but it's important to note that Operation Fishbowl again was in like 59. You see the timelines. That's important to note. It's important to note that we have a guy, and I'll put him side by side here with you on this thing here where you can see. We have April 1961, the Soviets had the first man in space. It was in 61, it was the Soviets. That's very important because it was the Soviets that started NASA. These same Soviets came to America and created this same scam that they had in their country. And basically our government saying, look, if you can come establish us one of those cash cows, we will let you in on it, like a franchise system. But you also see in their same time, we have Operation Paperclip. 50s and 60s is a very transitional point in America because everything humans start to know about the heavens is changing now in the 50s and 60s. And you would think that it goes back further than that because they talk to us about Copernicus, Galileo, Aristotle. We going all the way back. And just to think that right in the 30s and 40s it was common to walk up to someone and hear the word ether, firmament dome. See, these kind of words left the lexicon recently. This is scouring that recently happened, and I'm gonna make it all make sense to you. So we have the first man in space in 61, and then we have Operation Fishbowl in 62. I want you to think about that, because 61, 62, it is not really set in stone, because here you got, basically during this time, you got governments launching stuff up at the sky. And they launching bombs and nuclear bombs up there, but also humans. And at this time, there's no real, like, the space program is very young, and it needs to justify itself to be a permanent thing. And here's where the question gets answered when you ask the question, how did we get the space program, and why is it still here now as a big cash cow, multi-trillion-dollar cash cow? When they started the space program in the mid-50s, it was heavily funded. We're talking, I can pull it up here, maybe in Chat GPT. We're going to say, how much money did this early space program receive? Just to be accurate, make some points here that's going to be very powerful. First 10 years of tax dollars. Just a little. Now, I want you to think about this, right? And I'm going to share this with you. So you can, because people say, why would they lie? I want to answer that earlier, and I want to answer it thoroughly. I think I'm going to be able to kill this fly now, y'all. This is going to be good. Oh, I missed him. But yeah, man, check out what this, I don't want to make the numbers up. I want to share them with you. How much money did the early space program receive in its first 10 years? We're talking in the 50s and 60s. Look at them numbers, y'all. In 10 years. In 10 years, $35 billion in taxes. In the 50s and 60s. Now let's do this right here. How much is 35 billion? How much is 35 billion in today's money? That's $370 billion. That would be damn near $400 billion today. This is how much money they made in their first 10 years. Now, let me go back and share something with you when you ask, why would they lie? You got a program that's making that kind of money just by sending items up into the sky, and the people don't know what happened to the items when the items vanish, because we can't see forever. It's something called vanishing point. So think about this. You got a multi-billion, trillion-dollar industry that just pump free tax dollars out, and all you got to do, it's a trust system, meaning we got to trust them. I don't got to prove nothing to you. All you got to do is see the shit go up into the sky, and then the rest is on me to tell you what it's doing. And I'm going to say, well, we sending that to Andromeda. We sending that to this. Think about this. Our entire concept of space started to be formed during these years while we funding this early space program, all of this money. Now they got the job of being honest. Let me tell you what they found out in Operation Fishbowl. They found out in Operation Fishbowl, and shout out to one of my subs that sent me this. We're going to do this on its own stream. This is leaked military documents revealing what exists outside the firmament. But first of all, we got military documents admitting that there is a firmament in the first place. Everybody like to talk about military documents when it come to aliens, but they don't like to talk about it when it come to the firmament. We're going to talk about it, but here's what you got to realize. During Operation Fishbowl, right, the government found out that there's a barrier above us that we can't cross over. But now think about this. When they found that out, they was already making hundreds of billions of dollars. So ask yourself this question. If you got a program where you're just launching stuff up at the sky and the people don't know what happened to the stuff out there disappear, we go home and trust them. Free money, free money. If you got this kind of program where the people got to trust what you say happening up there because you can't prove it, do you think the people in power is going to come back after Operation Fishbowl and say, hey, everybody, space don't exist. There's nothing up there but a firmament dome. It's a barrier and we can't get across it. No matter what we do, we don't think we'll ever be able to cross it. It's just so well built. See, all the ancients talked about this. They found out about the firmament dome in Operation Fishbowl, but they was fattening their pockets already. Now think about this. If the people giving me hundreds of billions of dollars to explore up there, I'm not gonna just tell them stop giving me your money because ain't nothing up there. That's right. I'm gonna create the idea of something being up there as long as I can. Why? The floodgates already open with tax money. We talking about your first 10 years, you got 35 billion. When people say, why would they fake it? They've been faking it since they found out there's nothing up there but a barrier. They had to fake it. After Operation Fishbowl, think about the name of it. Listen to the name of it. I was in the military. They use code words. Look at this. We live in a simulation, folks. We live in a dome, terrarium, a Truman Show, what some people call a biosphere, meaning we are a carefully controlled organism. Something is breeding us. Something is carefully controlling what the air, with the water, everything. Like, you got to think of you having a biosphere on your desk controlling it. But whatever's created this thing is very intelligent. You can't make a biosphere that's like this one. This thing is so intricately built and so foundated, and we can't break through it, and whatever's here, and according to the ancestors, we're all here to be tested morally. That's right. So if the people in power know that the firmament dome represents what? A law system, a spiritual law system, because they found out this right here. We can't physically cross the firmament dome. Even the Bible say no flesh and blood can enter the kingdoms of heaven. What's up there is a different state of matter outside of our comprehension. What we know is solid, liquid, gas, and something called plasma, which is the ancient word ether. Ether is so mysterious to us that we call it dark matter. And it don't have to be mysterious. They want it to be mysterious. The whole concept of this fourth state of matter that's creating a barrier that they call in the firmament, because this thing ain't made out of nothing solid. It ain't made out of nothing liquid. And it ain't a gas either. What is the ether? It is a fourth state of matter that is pure electromagnetic energy. That's right. No of the other states of matter below that state can penetrate it, and that's why we can't cross the Van Allen belts. Because it ain't just one ether, it's 7 ethers or 7 torus fields within each other. And so we can't even cross the first one, let alone the other 7 above that. So there's levels to reality, and we on the first little level. And guess what that level is represented of? The Holy Trinity. You call it Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, but guess what it really is? solid, liquid, gas. They've dumbed us down to only see solid, liquid, and gas. And let me tell you something. There's a fourth state of matter besides solid, liquid, and gas that if we understand it, we'll know how to manipulate solid, liquid, and gas. That's right. Let me tell you why we can't break through the firmament dome. Because solid, liquid, and gas cannot cut through ether. There's something stronger than solid, liquid, and gas. And that's all y'all know about, solid, liquid, and gas, because that's called physics. Physics don't tell you about the ether. And guess what? Ether is the container of solid, liquid, and gas. You can't contain solid with solid. You can't contain gas with gas. You can't contain water with water. There have to be something greater than all of them that neither three of them can penetrate. And this fourth state of matter is equivalent to light. A person may say, how can light contain solid, liquid, and gas? Think of a hologram. Solid, liquid, and gas is a projection of light. And I'll show you what I mean. Let me give a shout out to 22. What's the full name? It's cutting off here now. 22 Black Sam. Let's drop a bomb. Appreciate the love. Appreciate the love. From 22 Black Sam said, keep cooking. I'm gonna show you something. We just in the intro. See, here's what our world really looked like from the outside. I'm gonna show you what you living in. Here, check that out. Let me get my dog up in here real quick. Before there was anything, there was light. Now, a person may say, Sanchez, how can light make everything else from? How can there be darkness and out of nowhere light makes the physical elements? You asking the question backwards as hell. What do I mean by that? How can you have solid, liquid, and gas out of nothing? Now, we all know in the so-called beginning, it was just darkness. Even the Bible say it was just darkness and then it was let there be light. The ancestors talk about the same thing. So instead of asking me, how can light be solid, liquid, and gas? You got to ask yourself, how can you get solid, liquid, and gas from nothing? I can tell you how. Close your eyes and give me some darkness. Now think of a city with people walking around. You didn't go get wood for the trees. You didn't go get stone for the buildings. All of the material in your mind right now that's creating a city is made out of thought. The thoughts projecting in the darkness, which is light. Light is creating this illusion of solid, liquid, and gas, which is why the fourth ultimate state of matter is light. Because when solid, liquid, and gas is through playing its illusion, it's like a sandcastle. The sandcastle can't stand up forever. It's going to be destroyed and go back one with the sand. So you can go to the beach and you can make a sand human. You can make a sand anything. But guess what? Whatever you making is an illusion, and it's only a matter of time for nature come reclaim your sand city. See, our universe isn't made out of It's an illusion that light is playing through holography. And that's why nothing here can maintain its form forever. Just like a sand castle at the beach. Can't stand there forever because the sand never was meant to be formed into a castle. It can only hold its light, its illusion for a small amount of time. Then every one of these buildings got a death date. Every building you see on this thing got a death date because light cannot be molded and shaped into a form infinitely. This is what we call the finite world, which is the illusion-like plan, which making a person think, oh, I'm walking into a concrete building. You're a lie, that's light. Just like Morpheus told Neo, you think that's air you breathing? Quit looking at solid, liquid, and gas as some physical elements and look at them as different frequency bandwidths of projected light. Then we'll be stepping up into maturity mode, getting into the mode of seeing the universe like the greats. This is my introduction. I'm showing you what they found out in Operation Fishbowl. What they found out in Operation Fishbowl is that there's an ethereal barrier trapping anything below the fourth state of matter in this lower realm. See, what's trapped here is solid, liquid, and gas, y'all. That's called the physical reincarnation matrix. Once you transcend that trinity of solid, liquid, gas, which they form a Celtic knot with that, to show you what I'm saying. And that's us becoming light. And light is lighter than all of those, but it's stronger and more powerful than them all. Because it's the thought that's making these physical elements or these three states of matter below light. Just like your mind having a thought. But see, they found this out in Operation Fishbowl. And they found out, okay, not only is there a dome up there, but we're in a doggone simulation. So let me break some down to y'all why it is so deep. Why would they lie? Not only is there a money incentive, there's an incentive to not mess up the natural order of consumerism, of shopping and taxation. And if everyone knew that there's a barrier up there and the only way out of it is for you to be a good person, these prison cells wouldn't be filled up with beds. Rap music wouldn't be even popular. People wouldn't give a fuck about Louis Vuitton and Fendi. Think about if they came out tomorrow and told, let me give a shout out to I Am That Guy. Said, we appreciate you, brother, and I appreciate you guys too. I appreciate you guys too. So listen, once they found out there's a dome up there, they didn't just find out there was a dome up there. They found out that the dome represent an ancient law system. This barrier confirms what the Egyptians said, the Mayans said, and all of them, that in order for you to get through that barrier, you got to be a good person. So when they found out that the firmament dome was real, it was a real party pooper to them. Because the kind of world that they want to build is shopping malls everywhere, warfare everywhere, divide and conquer, people hating each other, fighting each other. How they're gonna practice Zionism if everyone's somewhere meditating, being vegans and shit? How are they gonna be in power if everybody thinking for themselves, activating their kundalini, opening up their third eye? How they gonna be in power with that? So the firmament dome represented the end of their world system. And you know they couldn't let that happen. See, the firmament dome represented so much when they found out that the ancients were right in the 50s. Fishbowl let them know, hey man, the Egyptians know what they talking about. Hey man, the Mayan knew what they was talking about. The earth is a terrarium and it's a school for you to work on yourself because it's a filtering system of ascension to these higher realms. So I'm answering this and we're going to get into the video reviews. But what they found out in the 50s, in the 60s, is that we do live in the Truman Show. We do live in the truth. And if you think that they're going to come out in the 60s and the 70s and say, hey, everybody, stop giving us $1 trillion every year because ain't nothing up there to explore. And also, we got to shut down all the churches because heaven is wrong, hell is wrong, you don't got to tithe no more. We all got to become vegans. We all got to love each other. Black man, white man, y'all got to quit beefing. Come on, you wishful thinking if you think that's going to happen. You wishful thinking. Shout out to Tarkazar Makwazark. Incredibly majestic data for a vast majority of puppets. Thank you so much for the donation. But this is what they found out in the 50s and 60s and what they had to hide. Let's give a shout out to Sally McDermott for being one of 20. Sally, you always the first one, I think. You've been number one consistently. I want to thank you for that. You one of 20. I don't know if I'm going to reach the goal, but I'm going to try. I appreciate everyone that helped us reach this goal with a little 20 spot. Help me get me a coffee or, hey, man, you know, between me and you, you know, a little bottle of, you know, a little something. I'm just playing, but salutes to y'all for everyone that supports the show. But yet this is what they found out, everyone, and that's why they couldn't let us know. And I'll revisit this more and more. So I want to go stay on topic, and I'm going to wrap this intro up, and we're going to begin here. So keep in mind, in the 50s and 60s, they weren't just going to close it out the fishbowl just because they found the truth out. The money was coming in already. The Soviet Union launched the first satellite, and they started the lie. And basically, our government hopped on board with what the Soviets was doing by saying, hey, man, we're going to get left behind. The Soviets going to leave us in the space age. And then we entered the space age under the fear of we got to compete with the Soviets because they're going to leave us. Now, let me share something with y'all. These people was able to create a multi-trillion-dollar cash cow by scaring Americans that we're in competition with another country, and we got to compete with them, right? Shout out to Captain DL3. I appreciate you, man, for being 2 of 20. He said, oh, my God, love you, bro Sanchez. Love y'all, too. Now, peep game here. Here's where it gets deep. They lied to us like, oh, if we don't compete with the Soviets, you know, I don't know. They tell you all kind of stuff. You know, shout out to Tarkazar Mark. Oh, I want to say that right. Tarkazar Makwazark. Pop Sally McDermott chatting, bro. Appreciate that. TM in the house. Appreciate it. Listen what I'm saying, y'all. This gonna make a light come on in your head. America didn't have a space program. The only country with a space program was the Soviets. They had the first space program. How you think they was funding? The Soviet Union was very powerful in the 50s, in case you didn't know. And how do you think that their government just started getting power out of nowhere? I'm telling you, the Soviets had the first multi-billion-dollar cash cow in their own country. That's right. When we saw how the Soviets was extracting this free money from their people with this space program, we had to create one. And how did we do it? By scaring our people and saying, hey, if we just let them do it, we're going to get left behind. We got to compete with the Soviets because we don't want to be left behind. Now, here's how you know that the competition is fake. Because guess who started our space program? The Soviets. Okay, so make this make sense, right? Make this make sense, right? We're gonna compete with the Soviets, right? Because they starting a space program and we don't want to be left behind. But yet it's the Soviets that start our space program. Let that sink in. We're gonna compete with the Soviets because they got a space program and we don't want to be left behind, yet the Soviets come start our space program. This don't sound like a competition. This sound like a union. This sound like the people in power saying, hey man, come fool my damn people like you fooled your people. But they ain't telling you that the people we competing with is the one building our space program. So how can that be competition? So we see what's going on here, right? The Soviets come over here, they build a space program here, and they've been here ever since. See, America is a whore, Babylon, and it is in the bed with a lot of countries that you think we beefing with or got problems with. I'll give you an example. We built our surveillance system on citizens because we said we need to compete with China. China got the state-of-the-art surveillance system and very little crime when it comes to its citizens getting out of hand. And what did America tell us? We need to implement some of these systems China got in case we're going to get left behind. They said the same thing. But guess what? Here it is. All of the systems we implement, if you look at it, it says made in China. So let me get this straight. Every time we got to compete with a country to get what they got, secretly, it's that country building that infrastructure in America for us, which means it can't be legit competition. Let that sink in. So the Soviet Union launched the first satellite. This shocked the U.S. apparently. It created the fear that we're falling behind in technology and defense, man. We falling behind, man. So the government creates NASA. Well, you know, the government, I just gave you the rundown, starts secretly working with the Soviets to scam Americans. And here we are, 2026, that's still going on. Here we are in what's called the space age. And space funding has been justified by national security and prestige. Because a country without a space program just, how dare I drink some water out of a, you don't have a space program? Oh, get me out of here. I'm telling you the two pillars of space programs. Security and prestige, that's it. And you can debunk both of them right now. If it ain't no space, it ain't nothing to protect us from up there. Ain't no comets, ain't nothing gonna be striking the earth, wiping us out. None can get in, none can get out. So watch this. That kills your planetary defense programs. And then when you say, well, prestige, man, every country should be studying the stars. Well, everything we know about the stars come from people who didn't have space programs. We lost all that knowledge when we got the space programs. And we replaced that knowledge with fakery, which we're about to expose now. That's going to lead into my video reviews. But I'm just, like I said, laying the foundation with very common question. So there was never no bunch of citizens that gathered around and said, we vote for a space program, right? Congress allocated money each year through the federal budget without asking nobody. It's a line item on your taxes labeled, is there a label called space program on your taxes? Because some people may try to be picky and say, show me what they taxing you, right? We American tax dollars fund the planetary defense and the DOD. And you can prove me wrong on that. And that's basically tracking asteroids and comets, hoping that, and it's going to prevent them from hitting the Earth by shooting them out the way, right? This is crazy, you know. But that's a lot of money they making. And if you think they're just going to stop it and say, well, we found out ain't nothing up there, so here go your money. Like I said, you wrong. So there's a lot on the line, and it ain't just all monetary. It's the system they created being turned upside down as well. Them admitting the firmament dome is knocking us back into ancient Egypt, ancient Maya. It's awakening. It's going back to the law. It's going back to the path of ascension, which we originally was asking before space programs. We was wondering how to get out of this earth. And that everyone knew about the barrier, and everyone knew how to get past it. And you can't get through it physically. So think about this, and this gonna be the end of my intro, and then we'll start the program. Why can't we cross the firmament dome? Just to summarize, because everything we build is made out of solid, liquid, and gas. Any rocket we build, any projectile we build is gonna be made out of solid, liquid, gas, or a combination of all three. We don't make stuff out of ether. So think about what I'm telling you. Solid, liquid, and gas cannot penetrate ether. And if all we're manipulating is those three states of matter, we will never transition through the firmament dome. Because according to the ancients, in order to cross over that barrier, you literally got to shift your consciousness over it. You can't take your body over there. It's like saying, can I take my body in the bed with me into the dream world? No. It has to stay in the bed sleeping while you move around in your other body that's in the dream. So the ancients is saying that beyond the firmament dome is a parallel earth reality that you're already in. So you want to know what they're hiding behind the firmament? Our clones. And your clones are your other projected cells that are moving around right now as I speak in parallel simulations that we call dream worlds. We shift to them some nights and we say, hey, I dreamed. No, you left. You just went to space. You just went to what they call in space. And dreaming is, if you have the ability to dream, you travel to the heavens every night, silly. If you dream, you travel the heavens every night. You need to know that, okay? All of those stars are gateways into parallel Earth reality simulations where you already at. And when you shift your consciousness there, your memory of this place is instantly gone. Just like when you dreaming, unless you start lucid dreaming. But that's something the CIA was testing too in the 50s. So you got to ask, why are we doing experiments with lucid dreaming, astral projecting, and dream stuff, all with Operation Fishbowl and the space program? Because they knew the truth on how to get off the earth with projecting the consciousness. They don't want to do it morally. They want to cheat it with technology. And maybe we can build some kind of apparatus that we can put on our head and cheat and transport our consciousness to the other side to peek over. Nope, nope, nope. The ancestors said you literally got to do internal work on yourself. And that Buddha was the example. Christ was the example. You got to do the work, man. Technology can't help you with this. See, we got so technological. We think that technology can help with everything. And it's some stuff technology can't even help you with it. Like when it come to battering yourself morally, a calculator can't help you with that. Show me a technological device that can help you with that. Nothing can. That's pure self-determination, which make it so innocent. It makes it so true, untampered with. Nothing can taint this here. Can't none cheat you for this. See, this is all you right here. Can't none help you with this, right? Some can hinder you from it. But the only thing can help you is your own willingness to open your mind and realize your greater, what you really are. Now, that's my intro to answer to why would they hide it all. Now, let's go ahead and break some of this stuff they hiding down. I got a bunch of videos queued up that I think is gonna make the show fire, but I don't know. I'm doing this in real time. I don't rehearse these reactions. So let's go ahead and play the first one from NASA. And this was 3 days ago, right after the trip, when they was saying the completion of the mission.
Taking their first steps outside for their historic test flight.
4 brave explorers ready to ride the most powerful rocket NASA has ever launched.
Reed, Victor, Christina, and Jeremy.
We are going for our families.
We are going for our teammates.
Now, I want to ask y'all a question, right? You telling me that Artemis 2 is the most powerful rocket NASA ever launched, but it can't land on the moon. And we've launched rockets less powerful that landed and had these complex trips. And now when we get the most powerful rocket, we do what I call a lazy launch, or what I call also a drive-by. And what I don't like about NASA, right, is false advertising, and we should technically be able to sue these bastards. Now, what do you mean, Sanchez? If I do a GoFundMe right now, and I say, hey, everyone, I'm gonna go to Antarctica, right? Everyone is expecting me to go to the ice, hop up on the ice, maybe even taste some of the ice, you know, maybe even pet a penguin or two, right? Now, what if people fund my trip? They fund my trip for Antarctica, and I don't even stop. I go just enough to say, well, I'm in Antarctica technically. Now turn around and let's turn this shit back home. Thank you, everybody, for your money. That would be a scam, now, wouldn't it? But not when NASA do it. And then when you look at the photos and stuff we got, we know they didn't go nowhere and it's all a trick, which we're gonna break down now. It's false advertising to keep saying we went to the moon, because you didn't, right? You rolled around it. A person can't say, well, I went to Jamaica, if they took an airplane to the Jamaican airport and hopped right on another airplane to come right back to America. They never left Jamaican airport. Now, technically, they can say, you know what? I did go to Jamaica, but you didn't go to Jamaica. You didn't experience Jamaica. You didn't eat no food. You didn't go to no bars. Like, if there was a conversation come up about Jamaica and you try to act like you're an expert, you would be a damn scammer. That's right. You ain't smarter than nobody else when it comes to Jamaica if all your ass did was chill at the airport, man. Okay? That's like one of your friends take a trip to Jamaica, don't even leave the airport, and come back trying to act like they smarter than everybody about Jamaica. I've been to Jamaica. Have you ever been? Then be quiet, because I've been. Well, technically, you ain't really go to Jamaica. And man, you know the same amount about Jamaica. That's right. Because when we say go to Jamaica, we mean to experience Jamaica. And you can't experience Jamaica in the airport, silly. Now, NASA will convince y'all we've been to the moon by driving around. And you ain't been to the hood just riding through, nigga. That's right. Be surprised how many goofballs we have to tell this shit to every day. I've been to the hood. I've been to O Block, man. Riding through that shit on your way to go somewhere else don't count. So this is what NASA did and convinced everybody. Hold on a second, yeah. Gotta break it all down, you know. A lot of bull crap. No one else can get away with that. Now, we got a base on the moon. Why wouldn't we check on our base? It ain't been in, nobody been in it in years, man. Who built a base on the moon to not go in it? Well, we just want to ride by it. We built the house, right, in Jamaica. We built the house in Jamaica from the ground up, but we don't want to visit it. We just want to hang out right here at the airport and just go right back and just do a drive-by. Who have a property in a place? Listen what I'm telling you, folks. A person that builds a property in Jamaica is not going to visit Jamaica and not at least stop at their property that they haven't been into for years. This doesn't happen. This don't happen. Now, if a person who got a property in Jamaica ain't gonna take a flight to Jamaica and not at least check on their property, who does that? You in Jamaica, you might as well check on your house. You had it built, man. You in Jamaica. Well, no, I'm just gonna turn around and drive by it. That's good enough. What? You built the whole house over here, man. Park and let's get out and let's go in here and let's eat something. Let's chill out a minute, man. What are we in a rush for, man? Hey, that's why we built the base, to make it cheaper to be able to live in Jamaica. We ain't gotta get a hotel room. We ain't gotta pay no extra expenses. We got property here. Our flag is flying right there, man. No, we just gonna do a drive-by. We don't really, you know, just a little, it's a drive-by. You know, we just sticking our foot in the water, Sanchez, with the most expensive rocket we ever built. So let me get this straight. Not only did you take your ass to Jamaica and then check on your property that you built there, you took the most expensive goddamn plane there.
Stupid.
This is just silly. This is silly. So not only are we doing a drive-by of Jamaica, we doing it in the best goddamn private jet, the most expensive one. Now, when we decided to actually visit Jamaica, we did that in the cheap shit. But we gonna do the drive-by in the luxurious, goddammit. Okay, that make a whole lot of sense to dumbasses. Let's go.
Full rocket NASA has ever launched.
Reed, Victor, Christina, and Jeremy.
We are going for our families.
We are going for our teammates.
We are going for all humanity.
Engines lit. 4, 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition. And liftoff. The crew of Artemis 2 now bound for the moon.
Look at all of these religious members. They don't know they part of a religion that is anti-truth, anti their ancestors.
Houston integrity, great view.
This is a test flight, and so
And it's just so crazy that they would call it integrity when it's the biggest deception.
Artemis 2 now bound for the moon.
It's hard to wrap your mind around. Like, I mean that sincerely. It really bends your mind.
What?
We prepare to go out of radio communication.
Show
All of
us.
you down there on Earth and around Earth, We love you from the moon.
Just seeing Tycho.
Eric Dubé did such a good job debunking this right here. I can't wait to play his video. Hold on, let me shrink myself. I don't want to block. I didn't know I was blocking some of the video. Yeah, I don't have to be big. I can be small. This image right here is supposed to be a real photo. No CGI, y'all. It let me know people lost, man.
Tycho.
Eric Dubé did such a good job debunking these Artemis photos. I gotta review his video.
There's mountains to the north. You can see Copernicus, Rainier Gamma. It's just everything from the training, but in 3 dimension and absolutely unbelievable.
Kathy Moonjoy.
Superlative thumbs up.
We just went sci-fi.
We just went sci-fi.
I think there is enough for all. The purpose of humanity is joy and lifting one another up, creating together.
Yeah, so like we can have all of that without a space program. I want y'all to think about this. We give NASA trillions of dollars and they supposed to be giving us joy and hope. What if we took that money, clinked up Skid Row, made America great again, focus on Earth first, and then set our sights on the heavens? Because check out what I'm saying. Let's put the flat Earth and globe Earth debate aside. Let's put the moon denier and moon believers aside. Let's put all of the little division and debates aside, and let's just think as humans in priority. Does it really make sense for us to spend this kind of money? We're talking trillions of dollars, people. We're talking, I'm gonna give you some real numbers that's gonna make you shit your pants. NASA makes $45,000 every minute, even on Sundays. So think of how many minutes I've been live, and every minute, $45,000. Prove me wrong. You can't make this up. These people make $45,000 a minute. If you want to know how much money that is, I have a goal set right now for 20 people to send me $20. I only got 2 people to do it in 2 hours. Imagine $45,000 every minute. Wrap your head around that. We're giving that to them. And it's supposed to bring happiness and joy and keep us looking toward the stars. Like, bro, we can do that for free. I believe we can bring happiness and joy by taking that money and literally putting it in the areas where there is oppression and sadness at. So taking that money and directly putting it on the ground to children that's abused, right? To poverty-stricken places, affordable housing, better stuff for the kids. That will really bring forth the utopia that we're seeking through this religion of space, which is a hope that we can colonize Mars one day when we're destroying Earth right now. Does that make sense? No. It doesn't even matter. Like, we can put the whole debates off the table and just talk from priority-wise as humans and what the Earth need. And it don't need this right here. It don't. It need a lot of more of these resources aimed directly in places that need it the most.
This is a whole bunch of nothing, this thing we call the universe. You have this oasis, this beautiful place that we get to exist together.
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, after ignition, to me, the moment...
Yeah, go to ChatGPT. Think about this. If you make $70 to $72 million every day, go ask ChatGPT how much that is a minute. Ask ChatGPT, because I'm giving you NASA's budget. NASA makes anywhere from $70 to $75 million every day. Now you could take the lowest number, tell it 70. Say, listen, if I make $70 million a day, how much is that a minute? And it'll give you $45,000.
moment that I'm going to be most excited for is splashdown. There's no question about that. Good shoots coming down off the West Coast.
So now think about this. $45,000 a minute, and this is what we get in return. Stuff like this. Photos like this. And it keeps us hopeful, right? It just warms us up inside to see the rocket take off. You know there's just some white guy, every time there's a rocket launch, he creams his pants. And I'm gonna pick on you white guys, and I don't like to be racist. I love all people. I don't see no color. But I do see certain shit is exclusive to certain skin tones now, more than others. I ain't gonna ignore it. And I'm gonna tell you, when it comes to rocket programs and the rocket launches and space and shit, man, them white boys be crying and shit. Oh my God. They just launched it off, man. Artemis just got launched off, dude. They just launched it up. Just fucking beautiful, man. It's just fucking science, man. It's just fucking beautiful, man. Especially when they see that part get released. Oh, that's another orgasm. I mean, just how many times can I cream my pants in one day? You know, space is just fucking sexy, man. Just
Absolutely unbelievable.
Kathy Moonjoy. Superlative thumbs up.
We just went sci-fi.
I think there is enough for all. The purpose of humanity is joy and lifting one another up, creating together.
This is a whole bunch of nothing, this thing we call the universe. You have this oasis, this beautiful place that we get to exist together.
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, after ignition, to me, the moment that I'm going to be most excited for is splashdown. There's no question about that. Good shoots coming down off the West Coast.
Didn't I tell you the moment I'm going to be excited for is splashdown? Soon as they telling me it's 5 minutes to splashdown, I'm sorry, guys, but I'll catch you later, because splashdown time, oh shit, splashdown time. Splashdown time. Ah, yeah. Splashdown time. Splashdown time. It's splashdown time. Got Jergens? Let's hit it. I can't make this up. Look, check him out. You know I can't wait to splashdown time. That's my favorite part of this bullshit. Watch this.
Went sci-fi.
I think there is enough for all. The purpose of humanity is joy and lifting one another up, creating together.
This is a whole bunch of nothing, this thing we call the universe. You have this oasis, this beautiful place that we get to exist together.
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, after ignition, to me, the moment that I'm going to be most excited for is splashdown. There's no question about that. Good shoots coming down off the West Coast.
Oh, man. If you being entertained, hit the like and share button, man, and let's rock out with my chat room, baby. We here to expose the BS and have fun while doing it. Well, this ain't gonna make us great.
And there go the first series of parachutes.
And Houston, we're visual 2 drones out the window.
I can't freaking watch. It's just fucking too much. I'm gonna explode. I just can't. Splashdown, man. I mean, is this really fucking happening, dude? Like, I mean, it's just.
Main chute deployed.
We most
Fucking
importantly
God.
choose this moment to
I'm so fucking happy to be an American. God bless Trump.
challenge This generation.
Oh my God, this is
to
so.
make sure this record
Oh!
is not long-lived.
This
Oh. Did you see that splash now?
This record is not long-lived.
this is a relay race.
It takes an army to pull a mission together like this, right? Across all 10 of
It just take a bunch of actors.
our centers, all of our commercial partners, the international partners that come together to make this possible.
This is just fucking crazy, bro. All right, let's debunk these photos, man. Let's head on over here to Eric Dubé, to the OG. 10-minute short videos, getting right into the bull crap. Let's go.
NASA continues to release new images and videos from their latest moon mission, exposing themselves more with each one. Meanwhile, backpedaling space fantasy fanboys are working overtime, making excuses for all the anomalies and inconsistencies. Let's start with a quick slideshow of some of the new Earth and Moon images being given to the public, claimed to be real, handheld photographs taken by astronauts through windows in a rocket flying at speeds between 3,000 and 22,000 miles per hour. Most things filmed outside through your car window going just 65 miles per hour are a blur. Yet NASA never seems to have this problem, even at the incredible speeds they claim to attain.
Right.
To a discerning eye, the colors, lighting, and textures in these pictures are all very synthetic and
I had let me just pause right there, because I had a debate with a globe earther, and it was one of my popular debates. I brought this up in it. I said, why can't we see the Earth spinning since we can't feel it? Even if we get off of it and look back, we can't see motion blur. Well, they'll tell you it's spinning too slow. Well, let's take the motion blur example like what Eric Dubé said. Why can't, because I hit him with this. I said, well, how is the James Webb telescope and these different telescopes that's flying through space, how are they able to take a photo at those bullet speeds, like they're going 4 to 8 times the speed of a bullet, and they're able to take crystal clear photos with no motion blur? So I'm gonna tell you the argument that they gave me. They said that the cameras that NASA is using is able to slow this thing down to so many little bitty frames per second that even at those speeds, we can have crystal clear photos like this with no motion blur. And the globe earther actually went on to double down on that and started to tell me what kind of cameras to look up. So apparently there are cameras out there that can slow down the FPS to get rid of motion blur. The question is, do we have cameras that can handle the speeds NASA going at? I would say no. I would say that when you get up into 4 times, 8 times the speed of a bullet, you're now way past any capacity of any of our technology. That's right! So, the NASA fanboys would say otherwise, but they can't show me a camera on Earth that's capable. And they will have to then say, well, NASA got it and it ain't for sale for everybody else. This is the same thing with the heat shield and all that. If you are thoroughly investigating NASA and the capabilities of their technology, you will find, if you did it thoroughly, like me, that there's dead ends at the end of all of this stuff. And the dead end leads back to NASA itself saying, well, we got the technology that can do it, and we don't want to share it with nobody because we don't want our opponents and no one else getting this technology. It's national security stuff. You now tell me, ain't that a convenient lie? Tell me that ain't a convenient lie, y'all. If you try to look up the camera that they're using, that's such a great camera, it can take motion blur from something going 4 times the speed of a bullet and give you a still image like this. Now, we do got cameras that can, get rid of motion blur and all that, and they're very expensive. But even the most expensive ones ain't nowhere near the speed of one bullet, let alone 4 times the speed of it. So you can't prove them wrong, because they'll say, well, NASA got it. They got a super duper duper camera and they ain't sharing it with nobody. So, and they would do that too with the heat shield. They would do that with other stuff too, where we can't verify it because it's so high tech technology. It ain't in the stores and we can't share it with nobody, you know.
And unrealistic. Looking.
I'm going to tell you what's fishy about that. Every country with a space program, guess what the globalists will tell you? They all working together. They will tell you every country working together on this because it's important. It's about us as humans. It's deeper than it's about our humanity. They got their arguments they'll make. Every country working together, right? And if every country working together, and then if every country got a base on the moon or going to space, if they're leaving in and out of the Earth atmosphere, then they apparently got the heat shield technology. They apparently got the camera technology, because look, we ain't the only ones taking pictures of the moon. Every country with a space program is giving us fake images all together. So it make me wonder, how is your technology so different that, well, I don't want to share it with the very people I'm working with? Like, it's so secretive when it comes to you teaching it to children in the science class about how this technology is capable of it, because we don't want to leak our secret sauce, right, to other countries. But yet, every time you turn around, we're prodding ourselves on working with other countries, because this is bigger than countries. It's about humanity colonizing, you know, space. On one hand, we be competing with these other countries. On the other hand, it's one big collective humanity effort. It's double talking, bro, because no technology should be secretive, right? We should all be sharing like y'all said we doing, because this is bigger than humanity. So they double talk, and like you said, it's a way for them to not share it with you, but it not proving to me that it's something to be so secretive. If every country got space photos and they able to leave the atmosphere and come back in, that mean they got the heat shield and the hot super duper cameras, man. You ain't hiding nothing.
Much more like CGI than actual photography. Here is actual video of the moon taken from Earth by a Nikon P900 super zoom camera. We can see the moon's color, lighting, and textures from Earth in amazing.
Let me give a shout out to Tarkazar Markazar, the 28,000 kilometers per hour pod reenter. No steam on splashdown. Crikey. Horror. Listen, man. Appreciate you.
22,000 miles per hour. Most things filmed outside through your car window going just 65 miles per hour are a blur. Yet NASA never seems to have this problem, even at the incredible speeds they claim to attain. To a discerning eye, the colors, lighting, and textures in these pictures are all very synthetic and unrealistic, looking much more like CGI than actual photography. Here is actual video of the moon taken from Earth by a Nikon P900 super zoom camera. We can see the moon's color, lighting, and textures from Earth in amazing detail with just an 83 times zoom camera, which first of all suggests the moon isn't 240,000 miles away as claimed, but also shows how unnatural and unrealistic the new Artemis images actually are. Even AI bots that are trained to detect and differentiate real photographs from CGI are claiming the new NASA images are fake.
And at this point, in order for you to say these images are real, you literally got to put your head in the sand and reject the same technology that you're relying on to get them to space in the first place. Because what you would have to say is that we can rely on AI to fly spacecraft at 8 times the speed of a bullet and not be wrong within a fraction on this trajectory. This is some perfect driving from AI. AI is like a god pilot. Seriously. It's steering this thing like Star Trek Enterprise, 8 times the speed of a bullet, and it's making its trajectory point without missing it. These are moving targets. Watch this though. AI can do that perfectly, but AI can't tell you if it made this image or not. So that's like Picasso not being able to tell you he painted that. That's like showing Bob Ross one of his images and Bob Ross saying, I don't know if I painted that. I think Bob Ross know his own work. And I think AI would actually know its own work better than Bob Ross because it's a computer, it's superhuman. Bob Ross got a better chance on not identifying his own painting than AI. If you're telling me AI can fly a spaceship at 8 times the speed of a bullet without making a fraction of a mistake in its trajectory, you can't say AI is this smart for this, but when it comes to identifying its own images, Sanchez, it's really dumb with that stuff. You know, Sanchez, I would trust AI to be my pilot to take me to the moon, but I wouldn't trust it to tell me if it made this image or not, Sanchez. At this point, to be a globalist is a dangerous form of denial. I never saw a group of humans that don't care if they're being lied to by some people this powerful who taking this much money from them, and on top of that, hiding the nature of our true reality from everybody. Because they don't want to come out and say, hey guys, all of the research shows Earth may be a parallel reality and a simulation. Now we can start talking real science. And we can get away from this idea, maybe one day we're going to colonize Mars. You can't go to none of that stuff up there. You can't get out the firmament.
In 2026, with the level of realism that CGI, AI, and deepfake technologies have achieved, to see these images and not be at least a little suspicious if they could possibly be fake is frankly disingenuous and gullible beyond belief.
Yeah.
Let's look at this image called A Setting Earth. Notice how clear the craters, shadows, and subtle textures appear. It looks like the camera is only a few dozen, or at most a few hundred miles away from the moon's surface, being generous. NASA claims, however, that at its nearest, Artemis 2 was never any closer than 4,000 miles away from the moon. Now let's compare that with the following Apollo 11 image from 1969, where the astronauts were supposedly only 60 miles away from the lunar surface. Look at the difference in detail between 60 miles away and 4,000 miles away.
Mm-hmm.
Why does everything look far more textured and detailed from 4,000 miles away than it does from 60?
Come on. What a dagger. Shout out to Wound Socket Truth Seekers. Appreciate you, Brother Sanchez. Always enjoy your long live streams. Well, thank you, Wound Socket. Thank you. I appreciate that. I try to keep you guys quality content coming. If it's gonna be long, it must be informative.
Could it be because photo fakery has come a long way since the 60s?
I want to take it back a bit, man. I mean, this is just such a dagger of an observation.
Suspicious if they could possibly be fake is frankly disingenuous and gullible beyond belief. Let's look at this image called A Setting Earth. Notice how clear the craters, shadows, and subtle textures appear. It looks like the camera is only a few dozen, or at most a few hundred miles away from the moon's surface, being generous. NASA claims, however, that at its nearest, Artemis 2 was never any closer than 4,000 miles away from the moon. Now let's compare that with the following Apollo 11 image from 1969, where the astronauts were supposedly only 60 miles away from the lunar surface. Look at the difference in detail between 60 miles away and 4,000 miles away. Why does everything look far more textured and detailed from 4,000 miles away than it does from 60?
Yeah.
Could it be because photo fakery has come a long way since the 60s?
Damn, man, this is just such a dope observation because photo manipulation has come further, they're able to give us more detail, and that's why there's inconsistency, and that's just wow.
And it actually has nothing to do with their supposed distance from the moon?
Right.
Notice how much more detailed the lighting, shadows, textures, and contrast are on the Artemis moon images. Also, as a quick aside, if all of these moon craters were supposedly created by meteor impacts hitting the surface, how is it even remotely possible that every single meteor arrives at a straight 90 degrees above the surface's zenith?
Right.
Every crater is a perfect circle. None of them are oblong or elongated, as they would have to be if meteors were actually striking from all angles.
And like I said, when people see shooting stars, what they call them meteors, they always going straight across the sky like that. They're never coming up from the horizon line. If we're on a globe, we would see shooting stars come up from the horizon line, like a car coming up from down the street. You know, you would see that thing come up from the horizon line and boom, you know, but we don't see that. We just see them go straight across the sky. And all of the craters on Earth, this is exactly what they look like they would drop straight. Now, let me show you what these is, right? This is called, what's that word? It's a kind of bombing. It's a kind of bombing. Damn it, what's that kind of bombing called? I done forgot, right? I'm gonna make some up and hopefully it'll pull it up. But it's a name for it just ain't coming to mind. Because what happens is there was wars fought recently on the Earth. These ain't from craters. These craters ain't from comets from space. These are from, it ain't pipe bomb. Carpet bomb. Thank y'all, man. Carpet bomb. Y'all got it. That's what I'm looking for. Thank you, man. W to the chat. Carpet bombing crater. Let me show you when you got a bunch of carpet bombings going on. I'm gonna remember it now. Carpet bombs. Here it is right here. Look at it. These are bomb craters in Laos. 40 years. Look at here. See, how do we know we right? Because all of the craters on Earth are perfect circles that's dropped straight down. You see? And just like Eric Dubé showing you, because there is no skid mark like that, then that's proof these are carpet bombings. And this ain't none from space. Because I'm answering his question. Why would they all be the same perfect circle? That if you got random comets coming in from space and they show us stuff like this, right? They show us stuff landing at an angle, but that's not true. When you drop these carpet bombs over a stationary flat Earth, they go right down in a straight line and drop perfect in a 90-degree angle. There's no slanting. And you can see what's happening with each bomb. Each one of them is going to become a perfect circle when it lands. It has nothing to do with comets from outer space. There was great wars fought on this earth. There was a big reset where they wiped out a civilization before us, and they deleted those wars. And then they'll tell you, you know, about times on Earth when when Earth was bombarded with a bunch of comets. And then all of a sudden, see, these comets ain't consistent. They come in big ass flurries, then we don't hear about them no more. Sound more like a bombing than a damn comet from space. Shout out to Woonsocket again. Shout out to Woonsocket. As a white guy, Sanchez impersonation of white guy crying. Absolutely hilarious, and he sounded just like us for real, laughing my ass off. Shout out to Woonsocket. And Woonsocket, I remember your name is very unique. You've been showing love a long time. I appreciate you. Yes, Woonsocket know I've been, you know what I'm saying, silly as hell, but he know, you know, where I stand. But yeah, you know, think about these these craters, these comets. Think about what I'm telling you. They say, well, Earth got a lot of comets just like the moon, right? But I'm telling you, the moon ain't solid. What we're seeing, and I ain't gonna even go into what the moon is. If I got time later, I will. But the moon ain't solid. People say the moon is a mirror projecting of Earth. The moon is a stargate into an old Earth that another parallel Earth. I wouldn't say old or new, it's just a parallel Earth. I couldn't tell you the age. So the thing is this. I know the moon look like it got craters, but that don't mean the moon's solid. Now the Earth got craters, and the Earth is so-called solid. At least we think it is. It's holographic, right? Physicality is an illusion. But all of these craters on Earth, they will tell you, well, that was a time when, you know, Earth got bombarded with comets and meteors. And they tell you that with the moon too. And then it just stopped. That don't make sense. If there are meteors, comets in space equally, right? So much we need a planetary defense program. Because if what they telling us is true, that the meteors and comets only strike every couple of 100,000 of years and then they stop, then guess what? We can put the space program and planetary defense on pause for a minute. You can't have your lie both ways now. Because if I come in front you and I be like, look, man, according to what y'all teaching us about these meteor craters, it's like the meteors show up in flurries and bogart the Earth and go away. Well, that ain't consistent. That's like an attack. You know, that's more consistent with an attack. You feel me? Carpet bombing. Shout out to Punch Easy. The heliocentric model in no way reflects the reality we observe. That's right! That's right! Nothing but facts. Appreciate the love. Yeah, I mean, y'all get my point. Y'all get my point. I'm gonna move on. Let's play some more of this good video here.
Now let's look at this image, called A Distant Crescent of Home. Notice, first of all, the wonky shape and how both the tiny Earth and the moon appear to be smushed from top to bottom.
Mm-hmm.
This is similar to the effect seen during the live stream, when during one section of time, the moon drastically changed shape from a circle to a potato.
Right.
In this image, the crew was allegedly 40,000 miles away from the lunar surface, and 252,000 miles away from Earth. Earth's diameter is supposedly 4 times wider than the moon, while visually, in this picture, the moon's diameter is at least 4 times wider than the Earth.
Stupid.
A globalist will look at this shit lap it up like a dog eating their own vomit, defend it, when just mathematically it's impossible, dog. That's right. Math, numbers don't lie. If this is real, then what is the real size of Earth? Y'all spherical geometry model needs to be updated, but you can't update it. You gotta stay with 24,000 miles in diameter, because that's what y'all keep defending for this perfect sphere. And you don't want to come out and say, well, technically, you can't change it, right?
Being generous, it actually appears 5 or 6 times. Now, doing the math, 52,000 miles away from Earth. Earth's diameter is supposedly 4 times wider than the Moon, while visually, in this picture, the Moon's diameter is at least 4 times wider than the Earth. Being generous, it actually appears 5 or 6 times. Now, doing the math, 252,000 divided by 40,000 is 6.3, meaning the crew was 6.3 times closer to the Moon than the Earth. But for an object that's actually 4 times smaller to appear 4 times larger, the observer must be situated 16 times closer to the smaller object. In this case, however, Artemis is only 6.3 times closer to the Moon than Earth. Wow. That is a factor of over 10x discrepancy between the relative size and alleged distances of these two objects and the camera. The Earth should appear considerably larger in this picture. Now compare it back with the setting Earth picture we analyzed first.
Shout out to Astro 40K. Men lie, women lie, but numbers don't. That's right. Big facts.
Here we are supposedly 4,000 miles from the lunar surface and approximately 243,000 miles away from Earth. So compared to the last image, where the crew was 252,000 miles away from Earth, here the crew is only 9,000 miles closer to Earth than in that image. That is a factor of approximately 4%, meaning the size of the Earth should only change a maximum of 4% between the two pictures. In reality, however, and you can measure this for yourself with a ruler and the original NASA.gov images, the Earth changes size a factor of over 1,000% between the two pictures.
Damn.
The Earth is only 4% closer in the second image, but yet appears 1,000% larger.
This is just so big of a mistake. I don't understand, if you're a globalist, how you don't question this. I'm not saying you're going to become a flat earther because of this. What I'm saying is you're going to at least say, you know what, Sanchez? Mathematically, that don't make no sense, which Sanchez make me suspect of those images. However, I'm still not convinced we live on a flat earth. That's, to me, is honesty. You can't argue against numbers, man. They don't lie. You're lying. In other words, watch this, right? Look at how far away from the Earth we is on this image. We're behind the moon, which means we far as hell away from the Earth. But look at how big the Earth is. Now watch this. On this image, we're closer to the Earth now. We ain't behind the moon no more. How do we get closer to the Earth and the Earth just shrink? You hear what I'm saying? Think about this. In this image right here, we shouldn't even see the Earth. Why? Because the Earth's supposed to be so far away from the moon. And when you think about where we are in context to where we are right now, the Earth should be so tiny and so far away from the moon that it's just hidden in the blackness of space. And you know what? They couldn't give you an image with just the moon right here without no blue Earth in the background, because that'll be a boring image. That'll defeat the whole purpose, because people want to see the backside of the moon and they want to have the Earth in the background. But mathematically, you can't have that, because the Earth would be so far away, you wouldn't even be able to see it. Right? So Earth is this big from behind the moon, but yet when we get closer to Earth, it shrinks. Wow. Yeah, that's just one you can't explain your way out of.
Be situated 16 times closer to the smaller object. In this case, however, Artemis is only 6.3 times closer to the moon than Earth. That is a factor of over 10x discrepancy between the relative size and alleged distances of these two objects and the camera. The Earth should appear considerably larger in this picture. Now compare it back with the setting Earth picture we analyzed first. Here we are supposedly 4,000 miles from the lunar surface and approximately 243,000 miles away from Earth.
Shout out to D. Allen Warren, member for 15 months, said NASA needs to give our money back for real, for real. I totally agree.
So compared to the last image,
in order for them to give us our money back, we got to give them their lie back. That's right!
So compared to the last image, where the crew was 252,000 miles away from Earth, here the crew is only 9,000 miles closer to Earth than in that image. That is a factor of approximately 4%, meaning the size of the Earth should only change a maximum of 4% between the two pictures. In reality, however, and you can measure this for yourself with a ruler and the original NASA.gov images, the Earth changes size a factor of over 1,000% between the two pictures. The Earth is only 4% closer in the second image, but yet appears 1,000% larger. There was a similar size discrepancy in the images sent from Artemis claimed to be halfway to the moon. During their live stream, they stated they were halfway to the moon.
I mean, come on, bro. Come on, globalists. Come on. This is mathematically impossible. This meme right here should wake up any globalist, bro. That's right. This meme should make any globalist realize, boy, these flat earthers ain't tripping. How the moon from my house bigger than the moon when the astronauts is halfway there? So you telling me the astronauts halfway to the moon in space on the left, and somebody standing outside their house so far away from the moon, yet it's bigger to them? Man, you can't argue your way out of this. This is common sense, basic math. That's right. This is just simple stuff. But guess what? You want to hear the argument that they're going to come with? Because you know I'm a chess player. I already know what they're going to come with because I've been debating this stuff for over a decade. Here's what they're going to say. Well, Sanchez, you do know that the Earth atmosphere acts like a magnifying glass and it makes the moon big as hell. So the moon can be big even though it's way farther from us. We live in a big magnifying glass, Sanchez. Our atmosphere would take that little bit of moon, Sanchez, and it'll make it hella big because we live in a microscope. We live in a magnifying glass. Drop a one if you know that I know them people, man. I've been debating them too long. I know every argument they gonna come with. Right. Tell me they ain't gonna say that. And this is how you debunk it. You ready? Well, Mr. Globalist, if we live in a magnifying glass that's gonna make the moon get zoomed in on, and that is gonna make the moon get bigger, how come it don't make that airplane get bigger? How come it don't make that bird get bigger? How come it don't make that cloud get bigger? But Sanchez, they gotta be all the way out the atmosphere, because if they ain't all the way out of all the layers, then it don't zoom that big. See, Sanchez, if you take that airplane and put it outside the Earth atmosphere, it'll get bigger even though it's getting further away from you.
Stupid.
So Sanchez, that airplane can fly over your house and it'll be small. But if you move it away from you and put it out the atmosphere, Now think about what these people saying now. You know, if an airplane is over your house, it's gonna look big. But if the airplane just keep going up, it's gonna shrink, get small, and vanish. So how is it gonna also get bigger as it's moving away, getting magnified? I'm gonna wait. That's how you defeat them. See, when you know every argument that they gonna make to the dead end of it, to the last very corner, you'll always come out on top. How you telling me that the object gotta get out the atmosphere to get this big, even though when a rocket launch, it gets small and smaller? The rocket gets tiny and it shrinks and it disappears. If what you're saying is true, things should get bigger and bigger as they leave the atmosphere, because look at the moon. You telling me that the moon is really small, but the atmosphere making it that big. And how far away do things gotta get to get amplified, to get magnified? And I already know what they gonna say. They just gotta get out of the last layer of Earth atmosphere, because you know they got to give themselves some room to lie. They got to make it where the further you push it back, the bigger it get. Stupid. Shout out to Leonard Robertson, my brother from Alabama, man. Appreciate the love, Leonard. He says, salutes, bro Sanchez, Mobile, Alabama. Flat power to Mobile, for real. Salutes to the peeps in Mobile. And yeah, man, like, people will say, yeah, man, the further you get away from Earth, the bigger stuff get. Rockets should never shrink. I should see more detail on the rocket the further it's leaving. Because remember, I live in a magnifying glass. How you telling me I live in a magnifying glass, but when stuff get on the other side of the magnifying glass, it ain't gonna get magnified? Everything on this other side of the magnifying glass gotta get magnified, not just some things. If I'm looking through a magnifying glass, everything on that other side gotta get magnified, not some of the stuff. So that go for rockets. That mean when the ISS pass by the moon, it shouldn't be that small. It should even be a little bigger, according to, like, we can play with this, bro. But we know this is a bunch of crap. Things are gonna vanish and shrink in a few minutes, maybe in a minute, like a rocket launch. It ain't gonna get bigger. So you can't have your cake and eat it too. We win once again. That's right. Simple stuff though. Let's give a big shout out, man, to Leonard once again. I forgot to let you know you were 3 of 20. Let me see where we at. We actually got like 2 hours on the goal left, and we needed people to send in a 20 if they could. If you can't, we still keeping the show going anyway. That's right. Appreciate all of y'all for viewing. But let's finish this video, man. Let's keep it moving.
And yet the moon appeared much smaller than it does on Earth. In their Hello World image here, only a portion of Africa and a bunch of ocean is shown, leaving the entire other 6 continents to impossibly fit on the other 50% of their CGI globe.
Again, one of those situations where numbers don't lie and where mathematically it's impossible. If you showing me 50% of the globe I'm living on and it only has part of one continent showing, that means on a whole other part of the globe, you gotta fit every continent on Earth. This is mathematically not even up for debate. You can't debate what the statement that was just mentioned. And if that's true and not up for debate, this is fake. It's just mathematically senseless, even according to the own model you're defending. Whoa, we just got a influx of people helping us reach the donation, man, and that is awesome. The ancestors came through. The ancestors came through. Let's start from the top and start reading these from the top down. Tarkazar said, can you do a perspective on the fifth covenant? I'll check that out. The fifth covenant. Is that a new series or something? Interesting. Appreciate you once again. Tarkazar, man, we getting closer to the goal. Shout out to Aram left. Thank you so much. For being 5 of 20, shout out to you and Tarkazar. Flat power right back to you. Shout out to Ant Live. Been here for over 10 years. I remember you, Ant Live. Salute when you use this same argument to debate distance. They don't want to hear about anything being magnified. Facts, though. That's right. Ant Live, you man, listen. Salutes to you. Thanks for being a loyal member of this community for that long. Appreciate all of y'all.
In addition to this, they took another similar shot called Dark Side of the Earth, where the
shout out to Charlie Thomas. Thank you so much. Thank you for the super chat.
Another similar shot called Dark Side of the Earth, where the exact same cloud patterns are shown as in Hello World. Some people are claiming these images were taken only minutes apart from one another, but as you can see directly from nasa.gov, they state that one was taken on April 2nd and the other was taken on April 3rd.
Wow.
Either way, if they were taken on different days, how could the clouds stay the same?
Right.
And if NASA has written it wrong on their own website and these were taken the same day, how can the brightness of Earth change so much when the sun, the only light source in space, is fully eclipsed by the Earth?
Come on, man.
They also show Earth images like this, where part of the Earth globe is completely dark, hidden behind a Terminator line.
Mm-hmm.
How is it that Earth can be shown 3 totally different ways like this?
Right.
Fully lit, dimly lit, and completely dark.
Because at this point, people ain't defending the truth no more. They ain't defending science. They're defending what they grew up being taught. It's a different part of us because the brain tend to associate consistency with truth because the truth is consistent. If you ask me is 2 + 2 is 4, I'm going to say it's 4 every day. The truth is repetitive because it don't change. So if you repeat a lie long enough, the part of your mind that would challenge the lie and make it qualify as truth, it'll get bypassed. And it'll just be embedded in our traditional collective memory as humans. If everyone grow up traditionally learning in this same system of indoctrination. And if you hear something over and over and over again, 30, 40 years of your life, even 20 years, and you've been told to raise your hand, this is the correct answer, you don't know this is a form of psychological programming. You won't defend it because you can prove it. You're going to defend it because why? Because why? I raised my hand and the teacher said I was right. The teacher said Columbus discovered America. And when the teacher asked me on the test, who discovered America? Columbus. You're telling me what to say. And if I don't say it, it's going to be repercussions. This is like a form of robbery. Education, that ain't education. Listen, this was forced into you. This is forcing it to you. This is somebody saying, listen, everyone, this is a stick up. I'm going to tell you what to say right now. And if you don't say it, there will be repercussions. You can't question this, right? Now, here is history. Here is the correct answer. And when I ask you this next week, if you don't repeat what I just told you to say, I'm going to fail you. How is that learning? Y'all thought that was learning? Hell no, that ain't learning. That's indoctrinate. That's a forced takeover. Listen, this what history gonna be, whether it's true or not. Columbus discovered America. So We know that's a lie. But I wanted to get the answer right in history class, right? You know, so the thing is, people will defend that, you know, because this is what we learned. And they will tell you, you need to go back to school, right? No, you need to learn how to challenge what you've been taught in school.
Finally, let's take a look at some video glitches proving they are using CGI, or more specifically, augmented virtual reality, to create all the floating objects the crew interacts with on the spacecraft. They are constantly playing with stuffed toys, their food, the microphone, and other objects to convince the public that they're really floating in outer space and not simply suspended on wires in a studio. But watch as this food pouch spins near this astronaut's face.
I want to give a shout out to OD123. OD said, thank you for everything you teach, Flat Power. Flat Power right back to you, OD. I appreciate you. You are 7 of 20. We got a little time left on the clock. We make and reach our goal. I'm very grateful of you guys.
You can see as the edge grazes his forehead, it glitches out and goes right through, rather than realistically touching his face. There is no change in direction of the pouch from hitting his head, and instead, it just continues floating right through, as if he wasn't there at all. Now pay attention to the red spot on the white pouch. As the pouch spins around slowly, the red dot doesn't spin with the pouch. For several frames, you can see the red dot stay in exactly the same shape and space, not realistically moving and turning with the rest of the bag.
That is a big old fact. I like when he slowed it down. Keep your eye on the red dot, you'll see it. It ain't turning naturally, it's stuck in one spot as if the bag is just, none of this stuff is there.
Now pay attention to the red spot on the white pouch. As the pouch spins around slowly, the red dot doesn't spin with the pouch. For several frames, you can see the red dot stay in exactly the same shape and space, not realistically moving and turning with the rest of the bag. Then, as the bag continues to turn, at one point, you can see the red dot just vanishes completely.
Oh my God! Now, I want to hear a globalist explain their way out of that one. Well, Sanchez, in space, because of the lack of gravity, there can be certain icons on your clothes, on your, apparatuses or whatever you may be holding. Let's say if you sipping a sippy cup or you eat applesauce, your logos can disappear in space. See, Sanchez, and you never been to space, so shut up, Sanchez. See, space is the end-all, be-all. Things can be weird in space. Shout out to Tarkazar. The fifth covenant is an occidental goal. Universal harmony. Much love to Tarkazar coming through with a bunch of super chats. Appreciate that, Tarkazar. I'm going to check out this fifth covenant thing. That red dot just went the hell away. Check it out.
For several frames, you can see the red dot stay in exactly the same shape and space, not realistically moving and turning with the rest of the bag.
That's because y'all don't know how gravity works. Your logo don't got to turn with your bag in space, man. You can have a polo man on your polo shirt and you can turn this way, that way, and see, Sanchez, you see how your flat power moving with you? That don't gotta happen in space, Sanchez. It can stay right there while your body moves, Sanchez. It's a lack of gravity. See, everything don't work the same. When you get rid of gravity, things don't gotta make sense, Sanchez.
Stay in exactly the same shape and space, not realistically moving and turning with the rest of the bag. Then, as the bag continues to turn, at one point, you can see the red dot just vanishes completely. For several turns, the bag continues spinning around, but the red dot is nowhere to be found. And then, finally, after some more turns, the red dot mysteriously and inexplicably reappears.
Yeah, bro, you can't explain that one away, Rob.
This is because these are digital and not physical objects which they are interacting with, using a technology called augmented virtual reality. By wearing
talk to him.
Mysteriously and inexplicably reappears. This is because these are digital and not physical objects which they are interacting with.
I want to give a shout out to MLand005. The dummies don't even know what's going on. They defend space but didn't even know about Artemis. If you point it out, they won't look. That's right! Thank you, MLand, for being 8 of 20, helping us reach our goal. Even if I, reach half of it, I would be satisfied. But, when I would be even more if we reach the whole thing. I'm going to take this back a tad bit more. This bag situation is so damning. It's so condemning to the fact that the world is a stage. We live on a big stage, man. And the people is on it are actors giving you a false reality, man.
And continues spinning around, but the red dot is nowhere to be found. And then, finally, after some more turns, the red dot mysteriously and inexplicably reappears. This is because these are digital and not physical objects which they are interacting with, using a technology called augmented virtual reality. By wearing special VR contact lenses, you are able to see a digital overlay of pre-rendered interactable 3D objects within your physical 3D space. The objects do not exist in physical space, but are seen and interactable live in real time through the use of this technology. Remember.
And basically, the person ain't got nothing in their hand. Like, all of them don't see nothing. We see it because we're getting the overlaid broadcast, right? So we see what's on the left, but they actually experiencing what's on the right. Now, they got the contacts on what allow them to see the fake object, but if you walk in the room, it's literally nothing there, right?
NASA takes over $70 million.
And remember, this is the same technology that they're about to implement in the future. It's called augmented reality, where people are going to wear these smart glasses and it's going to be interacting with invisible stuff in our reality that don't really exist, right? This is like a lot of the technology they're using to deceive us with, they're using to control us with too as well in the future.
Per day of American taxpayer money. A big budget Hollywood movie like Gravity, starring Sandra Bullock, was filmed 100%.
See, now, this is how you know they're using augmented reality technology. This is how you know that they're using this exact technology that Eric Dubé talking about. Because the dude in the green shirt is moving an object that we see is not there. But see, he's wearing those contacts. The contacts are malfunctioning. So even though he see an object, we don't see it. And it looks goofy. It looks stupid. Watch it. Check it out.
3D objects within your physical 3D space. The objects do not exist in physical space, but are seen and interactable live in real time through the use of this technology. Remember, NASA takes over $70 million per day of American taxpayer money. A big budget Hollywood movie like Gravity, starring Sandra Bullock, was filmed 100% on Earth, using nothing but wires, green screens.
Now he's supposed to be taking the hat from the dude in the blue. but his augmented reality contacts ain't synced. The timing ain't on. So it's showing him that the hat is already in his hand. But the dude in blue like, hey, nigga, I ain't gave you shit yet. And these are the kind of glitches that happen when you use this kind of stuff if everybody ain't synced perfectly right. You can reach too early for the digital object. And this one was a horrible glitch.
Of American taxpayer money. A big-budget Hollywood movie like Gravity, starring Sandra Bullock, was filmed 100%.
He's supposed to be taking a hat and putting it out the way on the shelf. And it just show you, when you say you think they would go through all that trouble to fake it, bro, if you gave me $45,000 every minute, yes, I would go out, I would use every bit of that money to fool you like there's something up there that don't exist. We live in a damn dome, man. You can't get out of it. Get over it, okay? I know y'all scared of that. We live in a simulation. It's the Truman Show. You want to get out? You got to be light as a feather. You got to do right. Point blank, period. Check it out. These people are evil because they got everybody going along with the papacy and the Vatican, right? Which is the idea that there is no kind of law we must abide to transcend the earth realm and make it to the quote unquote heavens, or what they call space. Shout out to Brent Lee Howell. Been in the heavens working hard. Thanks, bro. Thank you, Brent Lee Howell, for being a sponsor of today's broadcast and being 9 of 20, helping us reach our goal. I always love this video right here. Because this video right here, the dude reached so early, and it shows you that they will go out of their way. Because how can you prove to me you're in a environment that produces weightlessness? You gotta create that environment, and you do it with floating items. When they in space and they got random stuff floating around, that is a psychological trick to create the atmosphere. With all of that, with none of that there, it'll look way more boring and just, where are you for real? Like, they gotta sell this thing to you. But in doing that, you open up the opportunity to make mistakes. And right here, in a simple, what's supposed to be, hey man, I'm just taking the hat and putting it over here, because you would think, oh, well, yeah, they in space, there's no need to question it because stuff is floating around, right? Is stuff really floating around, right? And people don't question this stuff. They don't think. But we do, and there's a reason for him reaching too early. Because what you think is a simple stuff, when they chasing Doritos and floating out the dirty underwear that's floating around, that's to make you think, oh, we up here floating around in this weightless environment. Look, a dirty sock just floated across my lips. Look at that. Oh, wait a minute, guys. I'll be back. I just seen a Cheeto float down the hallway. I thought I was out of Cheetos. Wait a minute, let me go get that Cheeto.
% on Earth, using nothing but wires, green screens, and CG. Exist in physical space, but are seen and interactable live in real time through the use of this technology. Remember, NASA takes over $70 million per day of American taxpayer money. A big-budget Hollywood movie like Gravity, starring Sandra Bullock, was filmed 100% on Earth, using nothing but wires, green screens, and CGI. That movie cost $100 million to make. That's NASA's budget for a day and a half. Imagine what kind of movie can be made with NASA's yearly budget of $24 billion. In fact, you don't have to imagine, because this entire Artemis 2 charade and everything else from NASA is exactly that. A big-budget Hollywood production made with the express purpose of disseminating this propaganda into the minds of the masses.
You notice another thing too. The men here never do like the women. Look at how her hair kind of spiking up. Even though she got short hair, all of the women, their hair have this little Don Juan static look. But look at the men hair.
The loyal NASA fanboy sycophants will try to
If you look at any men hair that's got short hair like her, then they hair don't spike out either. Another thing, when the Artemis crew was in their capsule, they had notebooks in their lap, and they was like just sitting the notebook down in their lap like this. Like, how is gravity holding that notebook down? Like, I can pull it up, right? I can pull it up for y'all. Shout out to TJ Guns. There's a YouTube video of the launch from a commercial plane that someone was able to capture. Yeah, we saw that one. And I can pull it back up, TJ. I know what you're talking about. But even at that video, the rocket had such an arch on it. It's like, hey, dude, space is that way. Why are you arching like this? The person was above the rocket looking down at it. And as they looking down at the rocket already arching right when it get on a level with the plane. Like, wait a minute, you got so far much more atmosphere to go to. You just on the level of an airplane and you already arching. Numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie. We gonna play the video. You ain't supposed to be arching already with that much arch. And we see an airplane in the sky. You know, airplanes don't fly up that high, man. If we do a mathematical formula on how much degrees of arch we should see when Artemis is on the same level of an airplane or a commercial jet, because at that point, Artemis was on the exact, almost in the same proximity of the same height as the plane. And if we can see with a line going from the arch to the ground, how much arch do Artemis need for it to complete its break through the oh, they get away with that because they looping back around. So they already got a lie. They got a lie ready for you. Because they saying, well, we ain't going straight up yet. We doing a big spin around first, and it's gonna slingshot us out. So that's why y'all see that arch. Okay. Liars always have a lie already. And I know your lies. I know every argument you're gonna make. But this dude in the green, his contacts had a latency glitch, which made him see the hat way too soon.
NASA's yearly budget of $24 billion. In fact, you don't have to imagine, because this entire Artemis II charade and everything else from NASA is exactly that. A big budget Hollywood production made with the express purpose of disseminating this propaganda into the minds of the masses. The loyal NASA fanboy sycophants will try to make excuses and brush these impossible anomalies and wild discrepancies under the rug. But the more discerning amongst us are waking up, and I'm seeing this Artemis mission backfire as many more people are finally seeing through the lies.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely waking a lot of people up, and they thinking that this is a W. Is definitely an L. Even a lot of globalists are like, what the? But here is the re-entry photo, because you know that they have a plasma blackout when they re-entering, and the whole capsule is engulfed in like this plasma bubble. Y'all check out how fake this is. So this is like after the fact when the astronauts get back to Earth, and I was saying to myself, okay, the power systems are gonna go out when the capsule is engulfed in this bubble, right? Why aren't the astronauts pulling out their cameras, filming this? so that when we land, they can say, this is what I saw out my window when we was engulfed in the plasma bubble. Well, they tried to deliver that, and I got news for you, spoilers. It's horrible. It's so fake looking, but you can decide yourself. Looks hella fake. This is supposed to be Mach 32, people. Listen to what I'm telling you now. An astronaut is feminist with their cell phone. I want to know what cell phone they got, because in case y'all didn't know, Artemis is traveling at its fastest speed throughout the whole trip right now. The reentry speed is the highest. It's 24,000 miles per hour right now. That is 8 times the speed of our fastest rifle bullets. Let that sink in. When someone shoot a gun, the bullet hits you before you hear the sound. That's how fast bullets are. That's just 4,000 miles per hour, right? The person that's filming this right now, they're in their window and they're like this, right? And they're going 8 times the speed of a bullet. And there is no motion blur. Remember the same problem we pointed out when they gave us the photo from behind the moon. Ain't no motion blur. Artemis was going slower then. We still need motion blur. It's still going. I can pull it up now. Just be accurate. So as it's traveling toward the moon, it drops to like 2,300 miles per hour. But at 2,300 miles per hour, you're gonna get motion blur. At 24,000 miles per hour, if we didn't get no motion blur at 23, we sure should get it now. That's right. We got 2 points of the trip for reference points, which means numbers don't lie. If you traveling at 2,300 miles per hour and you say, Sanchez, that ain't enough to give motion blur because our cameras can handle that. What about 24,000? And this looks crystal clear. What kind of phone she got? Because y'all saying your cameras can handle this, but your cameras are shut down during reentry. See? The only person that can record this is a personal phone. And the phone is offline. It cannot access the internet, but it's still got battery juice, so you can just cut your camera on and do this. That's what they said they did. So when a person say, well, Sanchez, NASA got some super duper cameras that can get rid of motion blur while we traveling 2,300 miles per hour. Okay, show me the cell phone company that can get rid of motion blur while we traveling 24,000 miles per hour. I will wait. You can't say that NASA super duper camera shot this one, because they're saying all their systems is down, unless you gonna tell me, because guess what they say? Well, it's a blackout. So, well, you can say, well, look, our systems can shoot this shot, but they can't transmit it to Earth yet. But according to my knowledge, I thought this was just an astronaut looking out the window. This is supposed to be a window shot. Do NASA got a camera by the window blocking the astronaut's view, that'll be stupid. Why not just put the camera outside the ship? Because they actually got a view of a camera that's supposed to be outside the ship. And my point is, why not just go to that camera? According to them, they got cameras outside the ship, unless those are visualizations. But I saw one scene that was supposed to be a camera mounted to the outside of the ship. Just switch to that one during and let it record while you entering. Because that camera ain't exposed to space. It's inside of like a pocket that's shielded. So you can't hit me with the, well, it's going to be destroyed, Sanchez. Well, in that case, it's going to be destroyed anyway. Not during the plasma shield, but just during traveling anyway. During exit, all of that. The cameras ain't exposed to space. It'll destroy them anyway. They're covered by the shield, and they inside of like a little part of the ship. They ain't just hanging out there. They like in a pocket that's shielded, but it's transparent, like, and it's made out of what the glass made out of that's keeping the astronauts safe. That's what they say. Why make a camera like that, but give us this view? Because it's like, if you got a camera out there, switch to that view and quit trying to make it like, oh, we're giving you the astronauts' genuine view of what they're seeing, because they want you to think, well, an astronaut is just looking out their window like a person on a plane. And it's deceptive. And then it goes black, and now here we are. We done broke through the atmosphere. Because my thing is, I saw this. And soon as it goes to the part where you about to make contact with that first layer, boom, we get nothing. And then now, you know. See? How you got parachutes already? Mathematically, it don't make sense. If you ask me, I ain't, listen. You just was in space and now you got parachutes already. That's kind of crazy. Okay, I'll take it. Like somebody said, though, here's the thing about when you open up parachutes, and we pointed this out on a previous one. Every time you see people open parachutes, hold on a second, someone sent in some love. We got 10 of 20. We got 10 of 20, and it's coming from Mark Gordon. Thank you, Mark. Has anyone talked about the fact that Artemis is the sister of Apollo, and she's the goddess of the hunt? But in this case, what is she hunting for? Dumbasses. Gullible minds. Oh, and the path of the flight is an analemma, also, or the G clef in music. Yeah, the Ouroboros. No, this is facts. That's right. Thank you, Mark Gordon, for being 10 of 20. We're halfway. Oh, there's some hope for this thing, man. Listen, if we can get 10 people to send in a donation of $20 within the next hour and 10 minutes, we can actually complete this goal after all. I see a chance that we can complete it. I want to watch this again, and I want y'all to pay attention to the Earth. Look at how the ground is morphing and mutating, and the clouds look fake as they vanish. Just watch this. Let's play it without the music. Sometime when you mute these things, you can point out more deception. See, it ain't, let me show you what I mean. If you look at this right here, this don't look like true cloud. It look too flat. It don't look dynamic. It look two-dimensional. Look at what I'm saying. You're moving through the clouds. Think of an airplane, man. You're crossing through the cloud layer right now. Look at this. Boom. That is not a natural transition through that layer. This is when it's supposed to be red hot. The heat shield is literally overworking itself at this point, and we get nothing. This is like it. Man, we shoot off fireworks at the 4th of July that looks more dangerous than this. I'm not convinced. All the astronauts be like, it is so frightening. It's like being in a big fireball. It's like being in a burning house. It's the most horrific part of the trip. It looked fun to me. It looked like something every kid would sign up for at Chuck E. Cheese. It looked like it ain't look scary at all. They able to, hey man, shout out to All Worry. I can't pronounce that right. I ain't gonna even sit up here and play with you, but I'm gonna try though. All our Weeru. Thank you so much. Appreciate you for being 11 of 20. We only need 9 more people. I think we can actually make this work. Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can find another video of an airplane flying through the clouds and we'll compare it. For some reason, a lot of globalists think that if they show up and name call, it'll stop you from having a community where we question people. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still gonna open my mind and be open-minded and question dumb shit. You can call me all the names you want to call me, stupo. That's right! You hate that people opening their mind and questioning dumb shit that don't make sense? Something wrong with you. You the clown. Let me show you what it looked like to fly through the clouds. Because some of y'all forgot. What's that Roy Jones song? Y'all must have forgot. Come on now. I'm about to play that motherfucker. I may get a copyright strike. I'm going to still have to play that one. Y'all must have forgot when Roy Jones was in his bag. You must have forgot what it's like to fly through clouds, son. Is this a real video of it? We need the real video. I don't want no enhanced. Uh-oh, we got another donation, man. Ain't the Lord all right? You know I gotta troll y'all. Shout out to Talkazar Markazar. Donate to bro folks. I probably broke. I probably go broke, yet I appreciate honesty. Nah, you know you got that money, Talkazar. You ain't fooling us. I'm just messing with you, my brother. I appreciate you though. Nah, these are real videos. I'm tripping. Actually, they're so beautiful. Breathtaking, right? They look fake. Check this one out. So when I've been in airplanes and we've flown through clouds, and sometimes the clouds are so thick, you look around you, it's just white. If you've ever experienced that, make a 1 in the chat room, put a 1 in the chat. I've had the chance to do it a couple of times. Flying through clouds is fun, I'm not gonna lie. When you're in an airplane, you see a big ass, thick white cloud coming up in front of you, and the pilot keep going, and you like, we finna fly through this damn cloud. And then you get in the cloud and you see all this white little like fog around your window. You can't even see through the cloud. It's just thick white, like, okay, we're in the cloud now. This is fucking dope. Anyone ever done that before? It's a very dope experience. If you haven't experienced it, my bad for, rubbing it in. I've done it twice. It's dope, man. Shout out to Talkazar once again. He said, hit that goal, brethren. Oh, man, Talkazar, you showing love. We only need 8 more people. I think we got an hour left. I appreciate that. Oh, yeah. Yeah, man. I'm just tripping off how, like, they went through all of these layers of the atmosphere. They telling you, right, that when you on a layer of the atmosphere that the clouds on, you still got a long way to go before you get to space. There's other layers of the atmosphere. And their video is so fake. They go from space to the clouds to the ocean. Bro, what happened to all them other layers of the atmosphere? You forgot to put them in your video? Seriously, y'all, compare this to the Red Bull jump, and you will see he was way lower than them. Like, this is a rocket coming back into Earth from the moon, from space. The Red Bull jump went on the edge of space, but not even, they didn't leave the atmosphere. And it took them longer to descend than this rocket. Think about that. Shout out to Jay Johnson for being 13 of 20, man. Let's go. Let's go. Jay Johnson said, space spells escape, and they don't want us to. Ooh, that's facts, yeah. So they pretend to. Same thing they did with exploring. Man, that is big facts right there. Big facts. Yeah, man, we actually gonna pull up the Red Bull jump, matter of fact, and make that comparison. How you, like, it's so many layers of atmosphere that, like, remember when we watched this video, this dude here, Baumgartner, is way lower. He ain't coming back from the moon, right? This is a 3-minute video. That ought to tell you something. Think about that. Well, Sanchez, Artemis is coming down at a faster speed. No, it's descending. It ain't accelerating. It's slowing down. I don't get it now. It goes from 24,000 miles an hour to 12 miles per hour by the time it hit the water, according to them. And the entire descent is how many minutes? Let's go to the video. This is a short. This is 1 minute. In 1 minute, we go from outside the Earth atmosphere to splashing in the ocean in 1 minute. In one little short video, guys. Whereas you go to the Red Bull jump, this is a 3-minute video. How the descent times don't add. He's closer to the Earth and taking longer to hit the ground than Artemis. Three minutes verse 1. Now, I don't think this is a reach. I think there's an inconsistency in descent times with a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's just that also when we know how it looks to pass through clouds, and this just don't look the same. It looks funky. It's just rushed. It's like, let's hurry up and zap them from space back to the Earth because we don't want to spend too much time trying to fake all the intricate details like multiple layers of the atmosphere. Y'all didn't even give us the satellite layer. Come on, man. It's supposed to be a whole layer of satellites we got to make it through that's orbiting the Earth. Come on now. Let's pull up a chart for you. Let's pull up a chart. You don't just go from space to the ocean. You got a lot of falling to do through several layers. And it don't take you a minute to do that. Now, I know you want to, like, this is crazy, bro. And you want to say, well, it's going 24,000 miles per hour, not consistently. It's very rapidly slowing down. And on top of that, you got people looking out the window. It don't look like it's slowing down. It don't look like it's even was ever at 24,000 miles per hour. Where's the motion blur? Listen, right here at the mesosphere is where meteors is at. We didn't pass the meteor level. Like, think about that. Your spaceship was up here at the satellite layer. That's the exosphere is where the satellite's at. Why don't we never see one? I mean, look at how many of them it is, though. It's like ants around a piece of doggone bubble gum. That's what the satellites look like around Earth. Yeah, it's like ants on some candy. Look at this, man. Hold on. I like this one. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, so the rocket is on this level coming in. Let me look at the chat. I think we got another donation. Hold on. People showing love. Let's stroll back up here. I'm missing some people here. Shout out to Talkazar once again. Said the universes are us. Well, I'm not gonna say perhaps. The universes are us. Well, I'm not gonna say perhaps. I'm gonna open up the lines for y'all too. Shout out to Rain D44. Appreciate the love, Rain D44. Appreciate the love, fam. And you sent 2 super chats of $9.99, which technically make you 14 of 20 for real. So appreciate the love, Rain. So much stuff we gotta point out. I'm gonna keep it moving though. But I'm gonna play this video one more time, the re-entry of the plasma shield around the craft from the astronaut perspective. Let's put the sound with it so you can, the sound don't even match the video. Cause think about it. If the aircraft, listen, if the aircraft is powerful enough to block you from the plasma radiation shield, then it should really block out a lot of that noise anyway. But you didn't want to do that because you know they got to make it dramatic. Hey, man, shout out to Talkazar again. This brother going in. Talkazar said, I relinquish my lawyer sword for a screwliest lean lawfare, yet you can't keep a good man down. Shout out to Talkazar once again. That is love. And we're going to play this with the sound on. For some reason, it won't let me interact with it. Let me refresh it. Yeah. Astronauts write about this, and it is not as dramatic as what they write about, because if they had to fake that, it'll look like hell outside this thing. Like, if you look at the visualizations that they show of the capsule when it's entering, they literally got a fireball, and it would be red out your window. And people that saying, it won't be like that, Sanchez, I'm giving you astronaut accounts. Astronauts say it looked like I'm inside of a fireball. This come from astronauts. And a globalist will tell them what they supposed to see. I'm saying what the astronauts account of what this supposed to look like ain't what we see here. When a bunch of people lying about the same thing, it's gonna be a bunch of inconsistencies and stuff, and glitches and flaws that can be pointed out by people who are questioning the shit. If you ain't questioning it, you won't see it. It's that simple. But like I was saying about these parachutes, right? Let me show y'all how this works real quick. Just thinking outside the box, using common sense, right? So let's, hold on. All right, let's watch this. What happens, right? When a parachutist open up their parachute, it yanks them up. It yanks them up. And it's just basic physics. Like it gotta yank you up. When you traveling in one direction and you're slowly hit the brakes, you go in the opposite direction. Like it's just common sense that once that thing catch all of that wind at a very high speed, it's gonna fucking sort of make your body jerk up a bit. Like, I'll show you what I mean. Maybe this video will show it. You see what happens? You see what happens? So you're falling down, but the moment you pull your parachute, something different happens. You start going up. So a lot of people think, well, the way a parachute works is I'm falling down at a very fast speed. I pull my parachute and boom, I start falling slower. That ain't how a parachute work. What happens is you're falling at a very fast speed. You pull your parachute and you go up very fast. And then you go back down real slow. Because when you open that thing up, traveling that fast, that much wind immediately impacting your parachute is gonna punch you upward. It's basically pushing you up because you gotta, and what happens is your parachute, once it open all the way up and the wind is now evenly settled and flowing, you fall to a nice little speed. But at that initial opening, that thing is catching all that wind like that immediately, and it's boom, pushing that thing up, man. This is what's happening. If you can picture this in your mind, see? Look. Did you see how that man just started ascending up like a rocket? Where did all that ascension energy come from? Again, the parachute becomes a rocket once you first open it, because all of that speed, once it's initially catching in the bag on the initial impact, it hits like that and it pushes you up with all that force. And it takes a minute for that to even out, for that force to settle. So you don't just go down, you go up again and then down. Because that energy gotta die out. Because when you pull that chute and it's flat and then it opens up and catch all that wind that fast like that, that energy gotta do something and it's gonna slingshot you, you know? But parachutists know that the energy got to dissipate, and it's like that's how it happens when you pull a parachute. But when you compare this to Artemis, it's supposed to be like the speed that Artemis is going, and it's opening up parachutes, I'm telling you right now, listen what I'm about to say. Artemis's parachutes didn't work. Let that sink in. I was in the Air Force, and I'm finna teach you a lesson. If you open up a parachute and it don't shoot you back upward, like what I'm saying now, it's cause some holes in it, my nigga. That's right. Listen what I'm telling you. I know what I'm talking about. If you got a bunch of holes in your parachute, it ain't gonna be nothing to catch that wind, and you're not gonna slingshot back up, and your fall is gonna be deadly. In other words, the slingshot back up, it let me know that I'm safe. If I open my parachute and it don't push me back up, I know I'm about to die. That's proof that my shit is catching the wind and it's making me drop slower. If you open a parachute and it don't push you back up like that, it ain't working. What's the point of it if it ain't catching nothing? So we see parachutes opening up like they catching wind, but they ain't slingshotting. The physics are impossible. That's right. The physics are impossible, y'all. The physics are impossible. Shout out to Rain D44. Whoa. Hey, Charlie, shout out to the OG Charlie. Flat power to you. Yo, Charlie said this should cover your target. Big ups to the supports. For sure, that covers the whole goal for sure. And a little more, man. I appreciate that. That was very generous of you, Charlie. You've been supporting this community for a while. You've been supporting the show. Let me give a shout out to Overthinker's Perspective. Overthinker said, love from Overthinker's Perspective. Great breakdown. And then Talkazar came through one more time. And Talkazar said, effed up how the chosen love, quote unquote, bunkers and stolen Tesla zap la de da. Tongue twister. Shout out to Talkazar. Shout out to Wound Socket once again. Wound Socket said, I sent you a 10 and then a 5, so I just wanted to send you the last 5 to help you reach your goal. Oh, listen, man, you guys, I have reached the goal. If you guys want to still send in support, you know, I appreciate it. But Charlie basically covered the goal and more. And I just appreciate everything y'all do and continue to do for the rest of the show. I'm going to open up the call lines and we're going to keep it rolling for sure. People say they love these long shows and these long shows love y'all back. And this, people, when you open a parachute at these speeds, if it's catching wind the way it should, you should get jerked up. You shouldn't just keep going. That there ain't no jerk. Pointless. It's pointless. Like, it's pointless. What would be the point of even having parachutes if it ain't gonna stop me from this? That didn't stop, that didn't slow down. If this is what I want you to do. Watch the video from beginning to end. Tell me, does it look like they're ever changing speed? No. They ain't changing speed. The reality out the window is moving at the same speed, even though they're dropping parachutes, even though in their initial descent, they're going 24,000 miles per hour. That should be a blur. And then that blur should gradually unblur itself the slower they get. You see how stuff work in the natural world? If I'm driving on a road trip with you and you're looking out the window because I'm going at 100 and some and there's like a blur out there, and I start gradually slowing down, shouldn't the blur do the same thing and gradually unblur itself? This has an inconsistency problem with that if you pay attention to it. The sound don't match the speeds because the beginning sound should be more like a whistle. When you got this heat shield around your thing, it sound damn near like a tornado. The sound that thing's supposed to make cutting through the thermosphere, through the upper atmosphere. If you ever skip the rock on the water and like hear the impact, but the whole thing is, this is a bigger scale. It's like the sound ain't matching with what the environment should be doing as far as motion blur. And the speeds don't match what I'm seeing for my own eyes out this window. Like none of this stuff matches. And you know what they gonna say, but Sanchez, you never been in a rocket. You wouldn't know what to expect. You right. That's why I ain't gonna take their word for it. That's a belief system. Yeah, man, y'all make sure y'all show Charlie some love for covering and just really coming through with the covering the gold. Look at how I want y'all to pay attention to one thing I just found out too. If you look at from the moment they start at the top to the moment they so-called break through the cloud layer, the clouds are not getting bigger, y'all. If I'm outside the Earth atmosphere and I'm traveling into those little bitty clouds, think about what I'm telling you for a second, people. From their perspective right here, those clouds they looking at are huge as hell. Do you know how tiny an airplane would be from this perspective? An airplane would be like a dust grain in those clouds. They're hovering above Earth's atmosphere. They're like right within at the edge of Earth's atmosphere. The clouds are so below that. I can show you the layers of the atmosphere. The clouds are damn near the lowest level. They ain't at the upper part of the, but see, here go what I'm telling you. As they descend, the clouds don't get bigger and bigger. If I'm falling into the clouds, then the clouds should get bigger and bigger. They shouldn't stay the same size my whole descent. Now, if you think I'm bullshitting, I'm gonna turn my camera off so I don't be a distraction. And I just want you to watch this and pay attention to just the clouds. It ain't natural. Look, bro, how the clouds stand the same? See, when I was looking at this, I was like, some fake, some off about it, but I don't know what it is. Have you ever watched a fake video and you know it's fake, but you don't know what it is? Hey, shout out to Awakening Minds, man. Awakening Minds, much love. If you ever watched these, and it's like, I know some fake, but I don't know. And that's what it is, bro. As they fall into the clouds, they don't get bigger. And next thing you know, boom, here we are in the water. Wait a minute, this is not what a real ascent would look like. The fucking Red Bull jump looked it better than this. This is so fake, man. How do you fall into those clouds and they stay the same size the whole time? No, man, hell no. Hell no. The clouds stayed the same size all the way up into the point that they fell in them. The clouds didn't get big. Look at this, folks. Listen, the cloud is going to get bigger as I go toward it now. It ain't going to just stay the same size while I go in it and through it and all that. Let's see if we can approach this thing and get it bigger. Yeah, it's going to eventually become white all around me because the cloud's so big. Like right here, they going toward the clouds. You think they're going to stay the same size as we approach them? No, they're gradually getting bigger. And as we get in them, we just going to be engulfed in white. That's how it looks like to fall through, then go through clouds. Whether you falling through them vertically, approaching them front on like this or whatever, it's just perspective. It's how things work. Move away, it gets smaller. I move into it, it gets bigger. And something like a cloud would get so big to the point where I'm just engulfed in it. Right? So this video is so unnatural. Look at it again now that I've showed you that. And I'm sitting here trying to think of why that's happening, and I just thought about it something, right? Sometimes when you use these little AI video generators, you can put a still image in there and make the still image come to life. So you can give it like a still image like this, and you can type a prompt. You can say, hey, make this look like what it will look like from an astronaut perspective to fall through the earth, boom. But you can type all that up. And what happens, because you use the still image, AI ain't gonna, and this have happened before. I don't know, you would think they would have more high-tech software, but a lot of these generator softwares, they don't remember that, hey, as I go into that thing, it needs to get bigger. Like it ain't on that level yet. So what I'm telling you is this, right? If I take a still image of my desk right now, and I tell AI to walk toward this lava lamp, it'll be funky glitches like the lava lamp ain't getting bigger, but we moving toward it. It's like AI be forgetting sometime human perspective. Like, hey, listen, AI, things need to get big if I'm going toward it. But see, AI is just going off your still image. AI is taking a still image, creating a digital 3D environment like Google satellite. So like when you zooming in, when you using Google Maps satellite, it's a fake zoom. It's Google. It's not like there's a camera up there actually zooming in real time. It's a still image, and it's just making the image bigger. It's an illusion of zooming in. It's literally a two-dimensional realm with a three-dimensional experience. It's like a two-dimensional simulation with the illusion of 3D. When you like navigating Google satellite, they got that feature. Some of y'all have used it. If you walk toward stuff, right, it does appear to get bigger. That's because Google using a lot of, they got top of the line stuff, but even then it's synthetically getting bigger. The only way an object can genuinely get bigger if you walk toward it is if you walk toward it. If I give the computer a still image and no one literally walk toward it to make it get big, then the computer got to simulate what that's like, and it don't get it right all the time. There's instances where when AI try to create that perspective, the object isn't realistically getting bigger the way it should. If you work with AI, you'll see that. It's certain things that a human experience really, because AI don't have a human experience, it really sucks on certain little nuances about our reality. Everything ain't just a prompt and just concrete. And I believe this may be a long rant and a reach too, but this is just my theory on this video clip on why these clouds ain't getting bigger, because it's a still image brought to life with a prompt. And this happens a lot when you use AI for that. It forgets that, hey, once you move towards something in my still image, you need to make that thing get bigger. And that would take more computing power. It'll take more work from the data centers. I don't know if they there yet like that. I think NASA should be there. They making a lot of money, but who cares when you got people that's gonna defend you no matter what anyway? But we can clearly see the clouds ain't behaving like they should if we're moving toward them. But yeah, that happens a lot when you put still images and animate them. It don't bring that room to life accurately from a human perspective all the way. So yeah, I know that was a long ass rant, my bad. We can move on. The jerk up is another argument. We need jerk up. We don't get the jerk up. You don't get through all of these layers of the atmosphere in a minute, right? That's another thing too. And you know, you're not gonna have the Red Bull guy take longer to get to the Earth than you from the upper atmosphere, from the exterior.
The Artemis 2 mission is a test mission of the Orion space capsule.
Artemis 2 will be the first time we put humans on this rocket.
We're going back to the moon because it's the next step in our journey to Mars.
We were always going to.
Yeah, I just wanted to show y'all some of the post-lunch propaganda and the official trailer, and just kind of see if I can spot some propaganda in this stuff. Shout out to Talkazar once again. Bro, I read that clouds are good people. You crazy.
To the moon.
Pushing ourselves to explore is just core to who we are. That's a part of being a human.
And liftoff!
We shall return.
Continuing to test out every bit of Orion.
Coming back to Earth.
They spend more on this kind of trailer and marketing than they do on the quality of the actual photos we get from the trip, which is just mad crazy work right there, bro.
7 miles a second.
Like this it's just, you know what this remind me of, bro? You ever been on Netflix or some venue and you say, man, I don't know what I want to watch, and you say, well, I'll check out the trailer. Maybe I want to watch this movie. Let's check the trailer out. And the trailer be so suspenseful. You be like, yo, we watching this. And you hit play on that shit, and you 10, 15 minutes in it, and it's boring than the motherfucker. Literally, the part of the trailer was the only part that was fire in the movie, and it's 2 hours, and that was just a 3-minute trailer. You do the math, nigga. Shout out to Rain D44, man. I hate that kind of. Hey, Rain D44, much love. Yeah, these movie companies do the same thing in Hollywood. They put more money on the trailer, the 3-minute trailer. That be the only scene in the movie that's worth your money. The rest of the movie be boo-boo. And you be like, damn, now that was a real ripoff. That's bro, that's crazy how this little 3-minute trailer was more exciting than all of the hours of shit I've seen through the whole mission. And I'm not even making this up. This little 1-minute trailer got me more crunk than any part of the damn trip. That's mad work. First images from Artemis.
What you're looking at right now is a photograph taken by a human being, not a telescope, not a pro.
Do you hear this? What you're looking at is a photo taken by a human being. Is this some kind of hypnotization? I'm not making this up. Y'all think I'm being funny. I'm not even hitting the laugh button. I'm dead ass, bro. My third eye just came on. Like, I've been knowing that we live in a They Live movie and that we in a simulation. This shit just hit me different just now. Drop a 1 if that just happened to you. Because I watch a lot of these and I know it's programming, but for some reason, the way this video came in, it just hit me on a deeper level. Like, damn, this shit is like hypnosis. It's really real. Just listen to this shit. Just listen to this.
What you're looking at right now is a photograph taken by a human being.
It's like, nigga, do you got some kind of hypnosis shit in front of their face? Like, and you're now getting sleepy. And what you're looking at is a photo taken by a human being, even though the shit look AI as hell. They tell you that the light make the stars invisible. How the hell you got the sun on the same side of the moon where the stars in the background? Now you telling me we don't see stars in space because the light is making them invisible? Now we can see all this light. You got a damn near corona around the moon. That should be blocking out all them stars. But we can see this is CGI. But you giving us the fakest image. And to give us that, you open us up with these vibrations, a certain frequency, to make people take their guard down, get them in namaste mode. And the first thing you tell them is, you looking at a photo that's taken by a human. Why you telling on yourself? I'm going to tell you what this is, bro. This is when you bust in the room on a little child, and guess what they say? I ain't stealing. I didn't say you was stealing. What? Let me see, check your pockets now. Why would you bring up that? No one said you was stealing. Like, you telling on yourself. The fact that the first thing in your shit is this photo taken by a human. Nigga, we was assuming that it was taken by a human. Why would you say that? Are there some taken by robots or something? Is there any moment where NASA is giving us a photo that's taken by an AI bot or a robot? Then why say that? Is anybody that look at this know you just told on yourself? Nobody even said it wasn't taken by a human. Right, but the photo looks so fake. You gotta open it up like, first of all, I wanna let you know something, nigga. This shit was taken by a human now. This ain't nothing but the preppy version of the same shit niggas do on the streets. Nick, if you ain't from the streets, you won't know what I'm talking about. But niggas do this shit on the streets all the time. Niggas will walk up to you with some jewelry and they'll say, hey man, listen, this is a real gold chain and I want to let you know something. It's not stolen. It's stolen, nigga. No one even said nothing about that but you. If you from the streets, you know what I'm talking about. If a nigga pull up on, come on, man, hop in the car, man, let's go joyride. And yo, this shit is not stolen. Oh, I'm not getting in that car. Telling on yourself, bro. What make you think I assumed it was stolen? You see, play this video back now that you know that and listen to it. It sounds like guilty people. Like, first of all, I want to let you know something. It's not fake. You know.
What you're looking at right now is a photograph taken by a human being, not a telescope, not a probe, a person holding a camera, pressing the shutter from a window of a spacecraft traveling.
It's worse than I thought, people. It's worse than I thought. It's worse than I thought. So this would be like the thief coming up to you saying, hey man, let me sell you this necklace. It's real gold. And it is not stolen. It is paid for by a hard-working citizen who gets up every day and go to work 8 times a week, 24/7 days a week. And I work even on Sundays. And I call in when I'm off. I work hard to buy this jewelry. I just decide to sell it. It's not, you're overselling it now. It's one thing to say this photo was shot by a human holding a camera, wearing clothes. A fully rested human. A human with hair. It was shot by a human with 10 fingers. This is so off. If you listen to a liars long enough, you see that they trying to cover for their own lie. And by doing it, you letting me know you lying. It's like busting in the room on the child and the child do this. Put their hands behind their back. If the child was a veteran, they would know if you got something you don't supposed to have, just hold it like you supposed to have it. And our mind probably even forget about it. You probably walk up in there, the child eating some cookies, and you thinking, oh, I must have gave him some cookies. Or I must have told him that. Nope, he stole that, but if he would have been, oh boy, who told you to go in them cookies? You just put the heat on yourself.
What you're looking at right now is a photograph taken by a human being, not a telescope, not a probe, a person holding a camera, pressing the shutter from a window of a spacecraft traveling around the moon.
This video is such a hypnotization mindfuck. I can't get past the first 20 seconds because soon as I hit play on this, I say, yo, the programming is real. I'm looking at this shit from a different perspective. Like, this video shows you how deep the hypnotization is. Why are you saying all that? Just irrelevant details to hide the fact that it's AI. It's AI. No, it was shot by a human looking out a window, fully dressed, fully clothed, right? Like, come on, man.
What you're looking at right now is a photograph taken by a human being, not a telescope, not a probe, a person holding a camera, pressing the shutter from a window of a spacecraft traveling around the moon. And what they captured is something that never existed before in the entire history of photography. The moon completely eclipsing the sun as seen from space. A perfect dark disk ringed by the sun's corona, its outer atmosphere, normally invisible because the sun itself is too bright to let you see it. Stars visible in the background, which should be impossible when you're photographing something as bright as the sun, and the near side of the moon faintly glowing, not from sunlight, but from light reflected off the Earth, washing back across the lunar surface from 250,000 miles away.
Yet when they're on the moon, it's dark as hell. That's crazy.
From Earth, a total solar eclipse lasts maybe 7 minutes if you're lucky, and standing exactly in the right place. These 4 astronauts experienced 54 continuous minutes of it, nearly 8 times longer than any human in history has ever seen. And they photographed all of it, from a vantage point no human had ever occupied before. In this video, we're going to go through exactly what they saw, image by image, from launch to lunar flyby. Before we go through these images, it's worth being clear on what Artemis 2 actually was, because it's easy to hear mission around the moon and not fully register what that means. Artemis 2 was the first crewed mission beyond low Earth orbit since Apollo 17 in December 1972. That's over.
All right, I don't want to watch this. I can't take it. I'm going to go to Bart Sabrell's video where he debunked the moon photos in another way by using shadow observation. I thought that was a very good. We will be having a discussion with Bart Sabrell coming up here. He's been, I think that the shadow argument is very dope. And he just make a lot of arguments that's just dope. But let's play. We want to show him some love as well. Okay, I thought it was shorter than this. I thought it was shorter than this. Well, I'll share his stuff anyway. You can go over to his YouTube channel. Check out his latest videos. I started watching the moon landing fraud in 45 minutes. And I was like 10, 15 minutes into it and just already blown away. He's really debunking this stuff. You want to go over here and check this out, man, and sub up to him, tell him I sent you, man. And, you know, I remember this clip. I used it myself. I mean, they're saying out their mouth they don't have the technology to go.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
And we never heard any updates that y'all did build it back. So, I mean, shout out to Bart Sabrell. Y'all go over there and sub up to the OG. This guy looks like the guy on The Simpsons with the pointy nose. What's his name? Frank. What's that dude on The Simpsons, man? He looked just like this dude. I bet you somebody gonna put his name in the chat. Shout out to Talkazar once again, yo. Shout out to Jewel. Shout out to you, Jewel. Joshua Tellerton, what's good? Hammers Facts. And shout out to the whole chat. Yo, D. Allen, what's good? This dude looks Flanders. That's who I'm looking for, Flanders. He looks like Flanders. That's Flanders right there. Yeah, this is Flanders right here. No, it ain't Flanders. It ain't Flanders. It ain't Flanders. It's this dude, he kind of evil and he's kind of like Mr. Burns. Yep, that's Mr. Burns. Yeah, this nigga's Mr. fucking Burns, and it's crazy because he got that evil, dark, sinister, like, I'm your friend, I'm just this nerdy little guy, normal guy, but deep inside, he's got this sinister, behind his little smirk, it's an evil trick, and the joke's on you. Like, he give me this dude's energy too. Look at him.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that.
What seemed like a little innocent, nerdy guy, but he's really a thief, a pirate, an actor that's ripping your ass off out of trillions of dollars in his program. I mean, you know, yeah, he's definitely Mr. Burns. Let's go to something else here. You know, Saturday Night Live did an Artemis skit, and I know that I might have to cut this out the video, but while we watching this live, I'm gonna react to this. If I get a copyright and you watching this on the replay, you won't be able to see this clip, but you can go to Saturday Night Live and see their Artemis clip.
On Friday the 4th.
There's a lot of truth in jokes, and I guarantee you these guys may point out some of the stuff we point out in a funny way, but it's like stuff these people know the truth too, right? All these folks too, and they may leak some of that stuff in the comedy.
4 crew members of NASA's Artemis 2 mission returned to Earth safely after an historic 10-day trip.
Fucking funny about this, because y'all think this is just jokes, but it's them literally showing you how easy it is to fake space. They don't make the kind of money NASA make, but he's able to really convince me that this looks pretty real up until he get too far back, then you can see he walking. But at first, with no fancy technology, you can look like you're floating from this camera point with just moving your legs like this. And like, he really gave a good illusion of floating with just simply with your own legs and camera tricks, just camera positioning. Wow, man, you can really fake this. Wow. Bro, SNL, I know they flat earthers. I know, bro, the Pringle can is so genius. We've been telling them for years the reason they have Pringle cans and chip bags floating is so they can create the psychological illusion of floating. That's right. We got to give Saturday Night Live they props. I wouldn't be surprised if someone get offended and want them to take this down, because even though it's a joke, it's really not a joke. That's why I keep telling y'all, in a lot of these jokes, folks are letting you know we see through the bullshit too. You see, people are letting you know, hey man, we know it's all bullshit too, man.
Oh, come on, guys. You gotta Velcro your snacks to the wall.
Capping when I say this looks realer than the Artemis footage. I swear I'm not capping when I say the Saturday Night Live parody of Artemis, if it doesn't look better than the Artemis footage, is neck and neck. And how they faking the floating objects is easy. You never see the bottom of the objects because they got someone down there moving them real slow like this. That just show you how easy you can fake it with primitive tech. Like what this shows, you don't need a budget like them to fake it. So imagine if you had the budget they got, plus on top of that, the willingness of the world to want to believe in it, to want it to be real, and to defend it, even if you do show them it's fake. It's like you can't lose. It's free money. Good stuff right here, bro. This is such good stuff right here, bro. Like, they're literally shit. I don't care what nobody say. This is a shot at NASA. I believe SNL see through the veil. Though. Like, what is the toilet in the space? Y'all want to look up what a space toilet is? Because think about it. It must be a little room you go in and you got to close it real tight, because if you peeing and pooping, and your stuff just floating around in little driplets that can be very fine, like vapor too, and float around. They ain't gonna just condense because it ain't no atmosphere. They just gonna fall into something. Ain't no atmosphere to dry it up. The bubble of water just gonna keep floating and floating till it hits something. So it's like this space bathroom must be a room where you can just let it all go in like a little vacuum suction tube. Or how do you trap the boo-boo is what I'm saying. The boo-boo gonna wanna tend to float. Right, how do you trap this pee-pee? Because you go in this little room, and if you try to leave out, one of them turds can escape out. So it gotta be foolproof. It gotta be turd-proof, pee-proof. It can't be floating around with the Cheetos. I can't be opening up my mouth, chasing out the Cheeto, and what's that pee taste? Little fine driplets of piss. And then who left the bathroom door open, man? Like, how do you trap the boo-boo? You need a good boo-boo trap. This ain't just a bathroom. You got this boo-boo is trying to escape. Is running away from you. This ain't like on Earth. You drop the shit in the toilet and it stays where I put it. So just the idea of a space bathroom, what does this look like? This must be a good boo-boo trapper. Like, it must be just a huge boo-boo trap. And if it was up to me, guess what? It'll be a room you go in, you open up a door, it seals, it's like seals, compressorized. You go through these 2 rooms, boom, you get in that room, you just let it go. And then you go through 2 more doors and they open that up to space. You just dump that shit, right? What's the point of, well, Sanchez, that mean they damn near gotta take a spacewalk every time they gotta shit. Well, it's either that or us risk floating around with fecal matter. We need a out room, a little chamber, because I looked at one of these capsules and they was like, here's our bathroom. I'm like, but your bed right there. So your bathroom there, your bed there, your fridge right there. Man, this is not very hygienic. This is a floating disaster. Man, listen, I would be so ready to get up out this little boo-boo capsule. Man, then they said that the toilet was broke. I'm like, oh man, this can be very dangerous, man. This can really turn into a shitty situation under certain. I mean, talk about how Earth looks. It goes into a joke about how immature the humans are, and that the whole joke is we're trying to colonize space, but look at our mentality. Like, to some people, this is just a funny joke, but to people with their third eye open, it's literally a lot of deep messages in this. If you play this back with your third eye open, they dropping jewels, bro. Every time they want to marvel about humanity and our place in the universe, it's interrupted by some immature human who's supposed to be doing experiments, but this is what they're doing up here with our money. Like, this is genius. This is genius.
Get a picture of that.
Oh, I just sneezed.
Fragile our existence truly is. Oh, Sally Ride.
Hey, shout out to Charlie coming through with the G unit, the 50 cent, man. Appreciate the love, Charlie. Appreciate the love. I was just talking about they got to have some kind of vacuum for them to pee in. You just can't be peeing in the open with them driplets. That'll be a disaster. That ship will fill up with like just, oh man, listen. And just to think you gotta, bro, this is crazy. Like you got this, this is crazy. Shout out to Charlie, man. Yo, they just blocked the stream temporarily. So let me stop playing that one. I should have known that with SNL. Let's stop playing that one. It was like I had to review it because they really teaching something. Like it's a lot of underlying facts in there. Stream suspended for policy violations. I'm gonna have to cut that out. I don't know if they gonna give me a strike or whatever. But they normally let you keep going and it's a temporarily. Let me just see. Hope we don't have to end it. Drop a 1 if y'all can see me and hear me. Drop a 1 if y'all can see me and hear me. Drop a 1 if y'all just can hear me. Basically drop a 1 if we still streaming.